$12. Now, they can do this 3 separate times in 1 minute, right? So they make a profit about $4 every time they sell it. So now all of a sudden, $12 a minute. You times that, and now they have friends coming on everything. You times that by 16 hours a day.
John is confident that people could continue to make new companies like Fubu today, but he thinks innovations like live selling might replace more traditional retail models for future entrepreneurs. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Welcome to the program. Today is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. I really wish I could start these shows with really great news about wonderful things that are happening in the world and how our politics are improving. And when I say improving, I don't mean one group of voters or one political party getting more than the other. I mean those little nuanced things in our policies where all boats are lifted and everybody happens to benefit. We can't really find a lot of those headlines. And so in lieu of that, I want to be able to be transparent and be honest and try to be objective. It's hard because you all know my political affiliation. And I don't always want to look at things through a partisan lens. But in America right now, you kind of have to, especially because the president and members of his party have so demonized the Democrats that you have to take that for what it's worth. If he is demonizing the Democrats, then people that vote for and support Democrats are also going to be under the thumb of the Trump administration and are going to have that proverbial knee on their neck. So even if I want to be objective, it's tough because the president is not, and American policy is not objective. And it's going to sound like I am being overly scrutinizing of the Trump administration, but that's actually what is happening. There are several things that you don't interfere with when it comes to how you help the American people. And it doesn't really seem to be a universal spirit in this administration. Look at the bills that were signed, the big, beautiful bill. If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, and you will. Donald Trump has control of the House of Representatives. Mike Johnson is the Speaker. He has control of the U.S. Senate. There's a Republican majority there. I think John Thune might be the leader of the Senate, if I'm not mistaken. He also has a very friendly U.S. Supreme Court. He's got a very friendly set of justices on lower courts, appellate court justices, etc. He's only signed one bill into law. Don't you find that unusual? If, as an example, if Joe Biden and or Barack Obama controlled all of government, or any Democrat, any generic Democrat for that matter, where they had a favorable court system, meaning the bills they signed into law would much more likely be declared constitutional, even if they're not, if you have a majority on the court that is favoring your political party. Even though we say that Supreme Court justices and appellate court justices and federal justices are supposed to be nonpartisan, they're not. But wouldn't we have a higher level of scrutiny on, let's say, Kamala Harris, if she had a Democratic majority in the House, in the Senate, and a favorable court, and she had only signed one bill into law 9 months into her term? It seems like the output is very, very weak, and I'm just wondering, where's the scrutiny on that? Because if you're a Republican, you're going to want your president to take advantage of the fact that they have the majority until the next midterm election comes up, and who knows what America is going to do or what kind of interference we're going to see during these upcoming midterm elections. So I just don't like the fact that the standard is being lowered for this particular president. Any other president would be held to a much higher standard. But there's some things that I think are fundamental and very bedrock here in the United States of America. Number one is protecting the democracy, the will of the people. If the people fundamentally disagree with a policy direction, you change the direction. Now, you're not going to get everybody. You're never going to make everybody happy. But if there are double-digit numbers of people that disagree with your policy pronouncements and the direction of the country, and now the economy is starting to tank, you're supposed to do some kind of a pivot. And that's a natural thing for a political party to want to do, because the Republicans have got to see the November 2026 date as one that is looming. This is where the American people are going to have a chance to have a say-so in things. And if the economy continues on this clip, that's why Donald Trump is in such a hurry to lower interest rates, because he thinks that might improve the overall economic output. It probably will not, because tariffs are now starting to hurt. I went to the grocery store on Sunday. I spent $40. I just needed a couple odds and ends. I just needed a couple little few things. That's all. It wasn't a big shopping trip. You know how you have your big shopping trip where you fill up the cart? I had one of those little short bus carts. You know what I mean? Like the little smaller cart, not the big cart. I guess we don't want to use offensive language. I had a little person cart. Okay, I was going to call it the other term that starts with an M, but you can't say that word. I had a little person cart. Okay, and I had a couple little few odds and ends. It was $40, and I didn't get anything. I got some spring salad mix. Costs are going up. I remember when it was a thing, when people were very angry about the cost of eggs. We don't talk about eggs anymore. Remember when Kamala Harris's biggest burden, other than being a black woman and a Democrat, her biggest burden was the price of eggs? People were very mad at the price of eggs. Maybe the price of gas. Remember those things? How come we don't talk about the eggs and the gas anymore? I'm trying to be above partisanship and be objective. It's tough, but at the very least, even a Trump supporter can agree that the standard for him is so much lower. Why is that? Don't we want the best for our country? Don't we want the best outcomes for our country? Don't we want to have the strongest democracy in the world so that we can encourage people to be more like America? But you can't do that either. Because if we have the strongest democracy in the world and the biggest, best economy, we have the best economy in the world, That would encourage more people to come. But you can't be a foreigner and come here. Just a moment on that, because, I don't really like to harp on immigration because we as a nation have lost full control on common sense immigration policy. Do you all remember hearing over many, many years, hey, if you just do it the right way, you can be a citizen of this country. We need immigration reform so that those good people that want to come here and they want to work and they want to start a family in America, there's a pathway for them to do that. Do you all remember those conversations we used to have? Because we were yelling about the border wall. What happened to the border wall? Did you finish it? Remember the first term? That, we're going to build the wall. Where is the wall? Is it done? Where's the before and after photos? Wouldn't you think that Donald Trump and his whole administration would take a bunch of selfies for completing the border wall? We are now in term 2. He has all the funding he could ever want. Donald Trump not only has all the funding he could ever want, he has all of the funding that he never even got. So we don't talk about the border wall at all anymore. But they used to talk about immigration reform, and there's a right way to be able to come to this country. Because I'll bet if you sat down with the president, any member of his administration, especially people in Homeland Security, et cetera, they would probably say at some level, yes, we do want people from other countries to be able to come to America to help make us great. Because they have a knowledge base or experience or expertise, or they're very wealthy. They're rich people. We want them to come and invest in America. I bet you could get some of them to say that, yes, some immigration is good. In fact, I bet if you talk to them long enough, some of them would probably tell their own immigrant stories, okay? With this current president who has the majority in the House, in the Senate, and a favorable court, why hasn't a piece of legislation been to reform the immigration system so we don't have to deal with mass militarized deportations and detainment? Now, look, I get it. They have a policy that they're putting in place where they want a bunch of people out. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that is what the policy of the administration is, and I'm not shocked by it because Donald Trump ran on it, and he got elected. And he won. Fair and square, hands down. Nobody is challenging the results of the 2024 election. Not a single Democrat is saying that there was widespread election fraud and Donald Trump cheated. Maybe he did, but the Democrats certainly aren't saying that. So if we're going to deport and detain people and have to use an inordinate amount of military resources to do so, wouldn't you think that they would use their majority in the House, the Senate, and with the presidency in a favorable court to say, you know what, let's create an immigration system where it works better than the one that we have now? They're not doing that. So it has to lead you to believe exactly what is this administration trying to do. There's a speech. There's a couple of speeches historically that ring out to me because I have to look back in American history to see if there are any similarities from antiquity that could be relevant right now, and there are tons. It seems like this current decade that we're in is very similar to the 1960s and the level of political turmoil that we have seen since the start of this decade. Doesn't it seem like the year 2020 was an eon ago? That's the same decade. We are in this generation's version of the 1960s, assassinations notwithstanding, political upheaval and protests and rioting and looting for a variety of causes and fundamental party misalignment. It seems very, very similar. And so there was a speech that John F. Kennedy gave, and it's speculative that this speech that he gave may have potentially predicted or sealed his fate. I don't know. I can't get into all of that because if you combine the conspiracy theories that exist now about literally everything and you combine those with the conspiracy theories surrounding JFK's assassination, well, it would consume an awful lot of your time, to say the least. But there's something going on beneath the surface that the American people will likely never be privy to. Trump used to make mention of it. Remember when he wanted to drain the swamp? Because you have all of these deep state government insiders. So referencing the deep state is similar to what John F. Kennedy was referencing in a speech that he gave in 1963, shortly before his death. Trump was concerned with covert means. There's these people in the deep state, because that's who Trump believed went after him. the investigations that were all, of course, false, phony, and made up. They were all fake news. But he wanted to extinguish this deep state. Well, John Fitzgerald Kennedy made it very, very clear in one of his speeches that we don't want to use secret means and secret tactics and secret military campaigns. He said, to the best of his ability, and I'm paraphrasing, wanted to be transparent with the American people, and he charged the media to hold him and his administration accountable to be above board, because John F. Kennedy admitted better than 60 years ago that there is something going on under the surface. Fast forward to now, Donald Trump wanted to drain the swamp and get rid of the deep state. Now, let me be clear. Trump is the deep state. So those covert means that Donald Trump was once inflicted by, those covert means that John Fitzgerald Kennedy warned us about, are in full swing. So I'm going to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to play you. It's a longer speech, but I'm only going to play about 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes and 55 seconds of it on the other side. I just want you to hear the perspective of John F. Kennedy on his understanding of the deep state and secret societies, and how there are systems that are moving in our government that are sublime, under the American people. There's a lot of similarities from then till now. Now, unfortunately, Kennedy lost his mind. Literally. He got shot in the head. No, he did. His thoughts went everywhere. Some of his thoughts went on his wife's dress. Well, we don't want that to happen. I think we've had enough with assassinations, but we're going to play the speech on the other side. Right now, I'm going to take a little pause for the cause. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And if you haven't done so already, join us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search 1017 The Truth, hit subscribe, and welcome yourself to a delightful feast of me on camera. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So let me ask you, when the government, and again, I'm doing the air quotes, tightens the belt, who's standing underneath the belt when it snaps back?
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
Don't want you to agree. Honestly, should I be transparent? I don't really care if you agree. I, like you, want to be heard.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind and Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas, or visit mso.org.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
The report is that
That is so incredibly telling if you look at the contrast between the Kennedy administration that welcomed being challenged, was not hiding from controversy. They wanted the media to be a very helpful partner in telling the story of keeping that administration accountable. The other part that I think is so shocking is that the need for security. And if the American people are afraid, like we saw after September 11, 2001, we will willingly surrender some of our rights for the increased safety and security. I would argue that something similar is happening right now with the intent to be Americans surrendering voluntarily some of their rights by saying that violent crime in certain cities, which happen to be blue cities, which oftentimes happen to be run by African-American mayors, are so wrought with crime, the only way that we can protect those very innocent and vulnerable people, in which you have to wonder why the president would want to protect those people anyway, because they did not vote for him, but they're under such, horrible conditions that you can only send in the military to protect them, like Washington, D.C., even though Chicago failed. I think the next city is going to be Memphis, Tennessee, and then we saw the military being sent into Los Angeles. That violates our rights, but if the American people are afraid enough, or if the administration says that people in those cities are afraid and they're afraid to leave their houses, but when you go to those cities and talk to those people, they say, no, it really isn't that bad. But that's something very, very similar. When the American people are fearful of something, we allow our government to provide us with much more security, even if it's at the cost of our liberty. And what Kennedy was saying in that speech is that someone will take advantage of that, and that is happening right now. But then there's something else that I believe is much more covert. And I learned how to read between the lines of how presidents speak and how administrations move with Barack Obama, because he had to use covert means, because there were groups of people that he wanted to help and pay homage to and to support and to protect, but he couldn't do it out loud. He had to do it very covertly, because if Barack Obama said, hey, African Americans have more comorbidities, have higher death rates, we oftentimes can't get insurance coverage because of our pre-existing conditions, and sometimes these insurance companies can put lifetime maximums on the dollar amount of our care. Barack Obama knew that African Americans, people that supported him very heavily, were dying unnecessarily because of the health insurance industry running roughshod over African American health. The Affordable Care Act was born out of that, but he couldn't say that. Now, here's the other thing. Anybody who qualified for those subsidies and qualified for the Affordable Care Act could get it, but the impetus of it was his biggest constituency was dying unnecessarily because of the burden of the health insurance industry. So once I saw that, I learned how to understand the language, the political language of Barack Obama. So since then, I've been paying attention, very close attention, critical attention to how governments move covertly and how they send signals to their constituencies that they want to help and they want to protect. Well, it also can go the opposite way. What I'm going to talk about next is, to say the least, disturbing, because it's looking at that those covet means that administrations will sometimes use because you want to keep things below the surface. We know that Donald Trump wants to harm constituencies and people and cities and states that don't love him, that don't support him, that didn't vote for him, but you got to do it in a very covert way. Just like Barack Obama wanted to help the African-American community, because jobs was one thing, income is one thing, poverty is another thing, education is another, and I can show you, and I have, all the disparities that exist within the African-American community along all of those categories, but none of that matters if you're dying from something that was wholly preventable, or if you had a pre-existing condition, but you couldn't get health insurance because of that pre-existing condition. So he went upstream and prioritized the thing that he believed, Barack Obama, was most important, and it helped people. Now, let's be clear, by the end of the year or the start of 2026, something like 24 million people are going to lose their Affordable Care Act protections. We will talk more about that as that time grows near, because I'm hoping that the Democrats are willing to force a government shutdown to get the president to rethink his dismantling and defunding of the Affordable Care Act, because 24 million people that are going to see at minimum a 75% increase in their health insurance, with the economy going down and tariffs going up, is going to mean more American people are not going to go to the doctor and they're going to die. And so I'm not going to start to panic on that yet. But there is something under the surface that I think the president is doing. So in 1972, Richard Nixon declared like a war on cancer. And since then, it's something like every $300 the federal government invests in cancer research, we extend the life of someone who was diagnosed by a year. Now, if the federal government, which is a tremendous investor in cancer research, because at the end of the day, if the American people are dead, we're not working, we're not paying taxes, we're not buying things, we're not fueling the economy. Keeping the American people alive, believe it or not, is a top priority, because the longer we're here, the more we buy, the more we spend, and the more we contribute to economic activity. Like, that is actually a goal to keep us alive. I don't know if you guys remember this. Barack Obama named Joe Biden the cancer czar, which basically directed Joe Biden to take the lead on funding and directing cancer research because, you know, former President Joe Biden lost his son Beau to the brain cancers. Joe Biden himself just had a malignant tumor removed because he's got a form of skin cancer. I think Joe Biden even had a form of prostate cancer, so it makes an awful lot of sense. And with the cancer genes running in the Biden family, Joe Biden is still a very old man, but he does have a genetic predisposition to cancer, so it was very deeply personal to him. This is something that all presidents have prioritized. We do not want the American people to have to suffer unnecessarily with a cancer diagnosis. We want to make sure that we are finding a cure. This is something that all presidents agree on, because at the end of the day, you want to keep the American people alive, happy, and healthy, you see. For the first time in American history, the Trump administration is dismantling and defunding cancer research. So I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to try and explain why they are doing that, and it's probably worse than you think. This is something that is unfathomable. Why would you do that? Why would you roll back all of the many years and the decades and probably the trillions of dollars that we have invested in cancer research, including they have like this flash radiation now where you go in and boop, it's a flash, and then that's it. and it doesn't do as much damage to surrounding tissue, and the side effects have been mitigated. They're even working on a cancer vaccine. Don't say vaccine around RFK. Don't do that. I find it so incredibly ironic that we played a clip from John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who warned us about what we are going through right now. But his damn nephew is one of the people that John F. Kennedy was talking about in 1963. The ironies are too great. This is the 1960s. So when I come back, I'm going to explain to you why the Trump administration is dismantling cancer research in the United States. You're probably not going to like it. But again, this is objective information. And I found it, I discovered it, and I'm presenting it to you because I have learned how to read the subliminal messages in different administrations on who they want to help, but also who they want to harm. Remember, this is the same president that pardoned everybody who participated in January 6th. So you know the kinds of people he wants to help. Now we're going to talk about the kinds of people he wants to harm. And I'm not just talking about sending the National Guard into their cities. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We address people, young boys, as if they're grown when they're not. For me, they're not young men, they're young boys. And I think if we can keep them in that space, I can do a lot more with someone in middle school when I treat them as the boy that they are versus trying to make them men when they're not. And they probably have very few examples of that.
Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app. Coming with straight truth.
Corey, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you when I first started hearing your voice. And what you're doing in the words of T-Pain and Gorilla, I love it.
Thank you, brother. Bless.
Hey, I'm down with you, man. I missed your last gathering, but the next one I'm going to be there. And I'm going to make sure I introduce myself because, hey, you're God in all circumstances.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 101.7 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are... No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
Drop my pants. I had to make sure I wasn't seen, you know. I don't want nobody to get surprised.
This is a sick Negro.
I'm just a real one. I peed again, came on back. I said, what y'all been doing? We've been out here for 3 hours. Y'all ain't peed yet? Just sitting here, we playing beer pong, and y'all sitting here peeing next to me? I'm still itchy today. Thinking something wrong. Am I the only one that's astonished by this?
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
In the war on cancer, Team Trump decides to start waving the white flag. This is an article that appears via NBC News. There's another article via the New York Times Magazine, but it's behind a paywall. I don't like that. I don't want to have to pay to read one article, but it's a very good article. But I can only read a little bits and pieces of it. But I get it, though, because good journalism, real journalism, authentic journalism costs money because you got to pay people to do the research and to find the details and do all of the facts and all of the things. So they put it behind a damn paywall, but don't worry, I got a companion article. You got to wonder why they would... Cancer research, why would you want to defund that? Why would you want to reduce the amount of money that the federal government is investing in keeping Americans alive? You know, there are people that come to this country because of our cancer research. You know, that we have some of the best doctors and hospitals and facilities that treat cancer. You know that life expectancy has gone up by like 20% since the 1970s when Richard Nixon originally declared war on cancer. And because that's one of the damn things we can make progress on in this country, presidents of either party have respected it. It makes us a global leader. Why would you want to dismantle that funding? You have to think that there's a reason for it, there's a purpose for it, because where else would you invest the damn money that is more important than saving the lives of Americans that have cancer, when our federal government has been like leading in its investments and trying to extend the lifespan of people diagnosed and prevent cancer altogether? Why in the hell would you want to do that? You have to look at these COVID means. Somebody is going to be harmed, and it's not everybody. There will be some harm to different groups and races and cultures and ethnicities, but some will suffer disproportionate harm. In these days and times, you can't come out, even though the Trump administration is somewhat doing it, come out and name your enemies that you want destroyed and you want eliminated. You do it in a very quiet way. You look at where your opposition is suffering. You look at where they are behind. You look at where your opposition might have a great disparity. And if the government, especially the federal government, has things in place to reduce the disparities or maybe provide assistance to people that have been historically marginalized, because that's another thing that our government does very, very well. We identify discrimination like in 1968. People were like, oh, people are being discriminated against when they want to buy a house or rent an apartment because of their race. Well, that's not fair. Now we need a federal housing act, which created HUD, Housing and Urban Development. So our federal government is designed to find things that are unfair, create a policy to bring more fairness. That's one of the things our government does. So if you have an enemy, a political enemy, or a constituent enemy in America, and then you find that there are programs like diversity, equity, and inclusion or affirmative action that may help your enemy. When I say enemy, people that don't like you, don't support you, people that protest you, people that don't vote for you, you eliminate all of those programs, and the administration has been very, very clear. But the cancer research investments being reduced is a new level of low. Why would you do that? Because we all know people that have or had people that we've lost because of cancer. The former president has had a form of cancer. And if our government prides itself on how we have been able to find revolutionary new treatments and extend the lifespan of people with that diagnosis, why would we stop that funding? From NBC.com, in the war on cancer, Team Trump decides to wave the white flag. American voters might not have realized that a Republican victory in 2024 would mean sweeping cuts to cancer research, but that's what they're getting. Both as vice president and again later as president, Joe Biden emphasized cancer research more than any modern American political leader. The Democrats' White House made his cancer moonshot a leading administration priority. His Republican successor clearly has a different approach in mind. If it seems as if this year has featured one report after another about Donald Trump and his team effectively giving up on combating cancer, that is not your imagination. The president has proposed slashing funding for the National Cancer Research Institute. His conspiratorial and anti-science health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., scrapped funding for mRNA research despite clinical trials showing mRNA-based vaccines increasing cancer survival in patients with the most deadly forms of the disease. There have been many other cancer-related research grants at universities that have also been cut off without explanations. So technology comes from basically two places. Well, three. Silicon Valley and their ever-increasing need to exacerbate artificial intelligence and using semiconductors and making them smaller and smaller. I mean, look how much smaller cell phones have gotten over the last 25 or 30 years. And look at the technology that's in our cell phones. So a lot of that stuff is military. The military had similar systems in the 1970s to what we use today as a cell phone. So Silicon Valley is a producer of technology. The U.S. military is a producer of technology. Some of the weapon systems that we have right now were developed 20 and 30 years ago. These technologies that were in their infancy then are now keeping our soldiers safe on the battlefield. So the military is another creator of technology. The other places where technology is created is colleges and universities, because they get large federal grants to solve very complex problems. And every so often, a tenured professor will go on a sabbatical, they'll do a bunch of research and write a book, and then they'll uncover and discover new things and new cures to diseases, et cetera, et cetera. So Silicon Valley, the U.S. military, colleges and universities are the purveyors of technology. The Trump administration has interrupted colleges and universities' ability to find new technologies as it relates to medical and cancer research without any warning. So this is very intentional. This is not one of those things like where Doge came in and said, oh, we're going to cut this and then cut education and then we're going to cut this and we're going to cut that. This is now them using a scalpel, because it seemed like Doge was using a sledgehammer. They were just, oh, we're going to cut this. And then they say, oh, oops, we didn't mean to fire everybody at the IRS. Oh, you guys can have your jobs back. With this cancer research funding that they are cutting, sometimes without warning, now they're using a scalpel. There's something intentional they are trying to accomplish. And John F. Kennedy warned about this. Using the government to operate these secret societies while you are trying to harm people under the surface is something that we, the American people, need to be mindful of. I'm expecting Trump supporters to be equally upset about this, because I guarantee you that they know somebody that's had cancer. They've lost somebody that's had cancer. Or they know somebody that has beat it. And for your loved ones that have beat it, and maybe it's you should be extremely angry at this administration and at the very least hold them accountable. Are you calling your Republican senators? If I called Ron Johnson, he'd hang up on me. But if some of y'all call him, he'd answer on the first ring. He don't like me so much. He wouldn't even come see me at the Juneteenth Day. We was at Juneteenth Day in 2022 because he was running for re-election, you see. He was walking around with his entourage. He had his staff with him. He had his press secretary there with him. He had a few other people there with him. And then somebody told me that was in the Juneteenth Day crowd, they said, hey, Sherwin, Ron Johnson is here. You want me to go grab him? Because we were broadcasting live from the Juneteenth Day, you see. I said, yeah, go grab him. Because that's what we do when we broadcast at Juneteenth. We'll see people walking in the crowd, dignitaries, elected officials. We'll ask them to join the live 1017 The Truth broadcast, because we're prominently displayed at the Juneteenth Day Festival. Well, the person went to go get Ron Johnson, and Ron Johnson refused. So I got up and I went and I talked to him. I got left the Truth broadcast booth to talk to him. He wasn't very nice to me. I didn't like that. So if I called him and asked him why he is not saying anything on the president seemingly mindlessly slashing cancer research, he probably wouldn't take my call, but he might take your call. It's against this backdrop that the New York Times reported that a half century after Richard Nixon declared war on cancer, and Richard Nixon's a Republican, by the way, so it's not like Republicans are pro-cancer. Nixon was anti-cancer. It's against the backdrop that the New York Times article reported that a half a century after Nixon declared war on cancer, there have been a great many breakthroughs that have saved and extended American lives. The incumbent Republican president, however, is effectively waving the white flag in this war. Here's an excerpt from the article. In a matter of months, the Trump administration has canceled hundreds of millions of dollars in cancer-related research grants and contracts, arguing that they were a part of a politically driven DEI initiative. Isn't that insane? Cancer research is driven by DEI initiatives. Now, there's a reason why the president said that. I'm going to pause there, take a break, come back and tell you what the president is trying to do by pausing cancer research. Because somebody put a bug in the president's ear and said, black people are living longer with this cancer research, so you got to cut it for everybody. You don't have to believe me. I'm going to explain it on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this
Congratulations.
money.
Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. Friday Night Lights now officially lives here. 1017 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers travel to take on the Oconomowoc Raccoons. Join our coverage starting at 6:30 p.m., leading up to kickoff at 7 p.m. Marquette Hilltoppers football is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. And sponsored by Left's Lucky Town, C.G. Schmidt, Capital Insurance Agency, Boyle Fredrickson, Annex Wealth Management, Magic Productions, and Burghardt Sporting Goods.
Did you forget the first day of school is this week and little Nancy still needs her name embroidered on her backpack? Or the company shirts are due now, not next week? Maybe the boss just declared Steve's retirement party is today and the shirts are mandatory? Whatever the rush, Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more in Mequon has got you covered. With fast turnarounds, no minimums, eco-friendly printing, and high-quality custom apparel, Big Frog brings your custom ideas to life fast. Stop by Big Frog in Mequon or visit bigfrog.com/Mequon. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more, where your ideas leap to life.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So you have to wonder why the Trump administration is equating cancer research to DEI. Like that is the justification that they are using to remove cancer research federal grant funding from colleges and universities, and while they are slashing federal investments in cancer research. In a matter of months, the Trump administration has canceled hundreds of millions of dollars in cancer-related research grants and contracts, and this article appears via NBC News, arguing that they were a part of a politically driven DEI initiative and suspended or delayed payments for hundreds of millions more. It is trying to sharply reduce the percentage of expenses that the government will cover for federally funded cancer research labs. It has terminated hundreds of government employees who have helped lead the country's cancer research system and ensured that new discoveries reached clinicians, cancer patients, and the American public. And the president's proposed budget for the next fiscal year calls for more than a 37% cut to the National Cancer Institute, the National Institutes for Health agency that leads most of the nation's cancer research, reducing it to $4.5 billion from $7.2. Adjusting for inflation, you have to go back more than 30 years to find a comparably sized federal cancer research budget. Why would you do that? Any reasonable American, a voter, a non-voter, a citizen, a resident, someone who came to the United States of America, maybe illegally, because maybe their child suffered from a rare form of childhood cancer, but in their home country of Guatemala, they have not invested the amount of federal resources in cancer research like we have here in the United States. And there are people, trust me when I tell you, willing to die to get to the United States so they can take advantage of the gains that we have made in cancer research since Richard Nixon originally declared war on it in the 1960s. And then Barack Obama named Joe Biden the cancer czar, declaring war on this horrible disease that impacts many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands, and probably in some cases millions of Americans. So why would Donald Trump justify cutting cancer research by saying it's a DEI initiative? Now, remember, Donald Trump he should not come out and say openly what groups he wants to harm, even though he does. He hasn't quite learned that part about American politics, that leaders need to be a little bit more covert with what they say. But I would argue, don't listen to what this administration says. Watch what they do. Here's the most recent data available on cancer incidence and mortality by race in the United States. 2,041,910 new cases, and there will be 618,120 deaths. This is according to the American Cancer Society, speaking about the year 2025. 445.8 new cases and 145.4 deaths per 100,000 age adjusted for men and women. The Black African American cancer rate, there will be 248,470 new cases. There will be 73,240 deaths. That is with the current cancer funding research left intact. What do you think a nearly 40% cut is going to do to the African American diagnosis rate and the death rate if you cut that money by 40%? Let's think about that for a second. This is one of those situations where money equals life. Every $300 the federal government invests in cancer research, we extend the life of a cancer patient by 1 year. So what do you think cutting the money is going to do? But here's the thing. Why would the president relate cancer funding to DEI? Remember, he hates DEI, and DEI is the code word for non-white. Mortality trends declined since 1991. 49% in black men, 33% in black women. Despite gains, mortality for cancer remains higher in black people than white people. Myeloma, prostate, uterine, and stomach cancers. 2 times the death rate for blacks versus white. When I was in the hospital most recently, first thing they checked me for was stomach cancer. Apparently it's common amongst African Americans. Thank God I don't have it. Hope I don't get it. Prostate cancer. Black men have a 67% higher incidence. That's more than 2 times likely to die than white men. Do you see the pattern here? Cancer research has helped African Americans who suffer disproportionately from cancers. Trump thinks that's DEI. So wait a minute, you mean if we invest in cancer, the blacks are going to live longer? Get rid of it. This should outrage everyone. Breast cancer. Black women are 38% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, despite lower incidences of breast cancer than white women. What do you think cutting cancer research funding is going to do to the mortality rate of black women? Remember, Donald Trump also has an interest and a fascination, if not a fetish, with reducing the longevity of black women. Sherwin, why would you say that? Do you know that he cut Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection? He cut Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection, which is something presidents have never done. In fact, when Barack Obama got in office, you know what Barack Obama did? He extended the Secret Service protection because once you're president and you leave the office, you only have Secret Service protection for 10 years, and then you're on your own, right? And we know the crazy people, they're out here forever. So a former president that no longer has Secret Service protection basically has the same level of protection as a regular civilian. And Barack Obama was like, no, we're going to extend all surviving presidents' Secret Service protection until the day they die like it used to be. President Donald Trump willfully cut Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection in an assassination environment. So, hold on, though. Don't trip. California Governor Gavin Newsom, with his devilishly handsome Hollywood good looks, said, don't worry, Kamala, we're going to use the California State Patrol to be your security detail because the president intentionally cut your Secret Service protection, which you are afforded as being a former vice president of the United States. So remember, we got to be able to read between the lines. Kennedy was talking about covet means. If Donald Trump believes that the money of the federal government that we have been investing in cancer research has disproportionately improved the survival rates of African Americans, Trump thinks that's DEI. And he said, well, we're just going to cut the funding. That is intentional. Now, it's not something that he is out here yelling proudly about, but also knowing that African Americans have fewer healthcare facilities, there's fewer resources dedicated to healthcare. We have a lower life expectancy. I can go through all of that stuff, and I'm sure on previous shows I have gone through all of that stuff. Cutting cancer research is a surefire way to increase the mortality rate of African Americans. Now, there has been a slight uptick in the number of black people that have voted for Donald Trump, but because so many African Americans still vote for the Democrats, even if he loses some of the black support that he has gotten, he is better off with fewer black people writ large, and this is one way to do it. It is a covert way to take a health disparity that exists, that the federal government has identified, that the federal government wanted to do something about, that it wanted to invest in, not just because the mortality rate for African Americans with cancer was higher, just to get rid of it altogether and to use American power and American technology to try and rid the world of this very, very mysterious disease that can strike even healthy people. Think about this. Kids get cancer. They're having their research cut too. He just doesn't care. There was something I said on a previous show about this president, and I try to take politics out of it. I try to take partisanship out of it. There was something fundamental that he was missing, that we need in a president, that I have seen. It's been demonstrated, it's been illustrated in previous presidents that this president does not have. There have been a bunch of presidents where I haven't agreed with their policy pronouncements, I haven't agreed with their campaigns, I haven't agreed with their strategies, but they've had compassion. They would go to a disaster site, and they'd hug the American people that were impacted. They would show care. Sometimes they would even show outright emotion when the American people were hurting. We have a president that has zero compassion for the American people, and that, to me, supersedes my disagreements with him on policy. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 2.
What up, Truth Nation? It's Kyle Walls, and I'm broadcasting live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown on Tuesday, September 16th from noon until 1. Come ride the wave and kick off your week with a clean ride and good vibes. I'll be at 5209 West Fond du Lac Avenue, holding it down live at Tsunami Express Car Wash. Again, that's Tuesday, September 16th, Truth to Power from 12 until 1, live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown Milwaukee. Wash, chill, repeat.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to the host of Hoops Tonight, Jim Tipp. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
How is it possible for somebody to be found guilty of something and serve no jail time? How is it possible that someone can get a first offense misdemeanor when it comes to marijuana here in the state of Wisconsin and can face up to 6 months in jail, but two men who are convicted of murder get probation? This is not what justice is about. Why does this keep happening, Truth Nation? And why does it always seem like black people die and we don't get the justice that we deserve? How should we react to this? If you commit a crime, you must do the time. If you take somebody's life, you have to pay the cost. I don't care that it was an accident, because it does not make sense to me how someone can be murdered and somehow they get no time. Even if you accidentally kill somebody, you are still a murderer, especially when you plead guilty to felony murder. Marijuana will get you more time in jail than killing somebody, especially when it comes to a black man here in America, unfortunately.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
We are the home of Milwaukee Black Talk. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Whenever I can find contrast between not even this administration and the Biden administration or the Obama administration, just where Donald Trump is breaking with tradition. Because there are some people that maybe they voted for him because he's going to be so drastically and dramatically different than what we have seen from American politics. Something I think we all have in common is that we all have been, at one point or another, disaffected or at least disappointed by American political output. It's not doing enough. It's not going far enough. There are problems that we have right now that have been persistent over the decades, disparities that seem to be so incredibly stubborn, but no policy is able to remedy or reduce them. I think a lot of people get frustrated. At least when I talk to non-voters, like committed non-voters, and when they share that frustration, I totally get it. I still try and encourage them to have their voice be heard, because the more collective voices we have, because I think a large voice is missing from the American body politic, and it's the largest constituency group in the country, and it's literally non-voters. Those individuals who are at least 18 years old, who are not currently on paper for a felony offense, there are more of them that do not vote than do. But if they don't want to, I get it, because they can explain to me in shocking clarity and great articulation why they think that the American democratic system of government has failed them. And they are right in a lot of those regards, because our democracy takes active work from all of us. And we're so consumed with other things. You got to go to work and to make money. You got to take care of your responsibilities. And at the same time, we all have to act in a way that protects and safeguards our democracy. It's just too much. But I also think that we lean on and expect our elected officials to do more than humanly possible. People blame the mayor every day for crime in this city. And I'll step back and I'll say, okay, what should the mayor be doing to stop a husband from punching their wife in the face? Because most violence in this city is domestic. What can the mayor do to stop somebody from shooting another person in the face because they had an argument or a disagreement over some damn tennis shoes? What's Cavalier Johnson? He's not even a big guy. I hope he knows karate. What if Cavalier Johnson could kick all of our asses? Wouldn't that be something? But even if he could kick all of our asses, what is the mayor supposed to do? You can't even tell a mama that their kid is acting up. Now, the mama wants to fight you. So if you think that a mayor has the ability or the authority to stop people's actions and behaviors, then I think we do put too much expectation on them. So one of the things that I need to do is to temper people's expectations of an elected official. We also believe that as black people, if you have a whole bunch of black elected officials, and we have a lot of black electeds, and we have black people that aren't elected, that just kind of find their way into high-level positions. You have a black sheriff. Somebody check on Danita Ball. I haven't heard from her in a while. She's probably been on Tory's show. I'm just saying I haven't seen her. Remember when Sheriff David Clark was everywhere? David Clark, I did an interview with him several interviews I did with him at WNOV. I swear he rode his horse to the radio interview. I think he used to ride a horse. He was everywhere. He was making headlines. He was doing interviews. Every New Year's Eve, he'd give a press conference. Hey, it's me, Sheriff David Clark. If you drive drunk, I'm going to bust your ass. If you act up down at the lakefront, we're going to have a mobile jail. Remember how up front and out front David Clark was? Danita Ball, she's the sheriff. I don't know. She's probably somewhere sheriffing, but I don't see her very much. We have a black police chief. Like I said before, we have a black African-American mayor. Did you know that out of 15 Common Council members, and those are the legislative branch of city government, 8 of them are black. Did you know that if all the black people on the Common Council vote for an ordinance, it passes no matter what? White people are insignificant on the Milwaukee Common Council. That's crazy. In all of the decades that I worked in government, we wished for the day where we could have a majority black Common Council, because some of the policies and ordinances that we knew would help the African American community oftentimes got stifled by white South Side and East Side alderpersons that wanted to get in the way of black progress, because there's this really ugly rumor that persists in America, American political speak and American political lexicon. It's that if black people make progress, white people have to suffer. Nuh-uh. When black people make progress, we bring the whites right along with us. If black people get rich, if we have more economic opportunity, we just buy more stuff at Mayfair Mall. We just buy more stuff from white people. It's crazy. It's like the state of Wisconsin looks at Milwaukee as the black city. Like, oh, if Milwaukee gets more shared revenue, gets more revenue, that's a bad thing. No, the more money that we get here, the more that we can invest and the more tax revenue that Milwaukee can produce. And that means the more state budget dollars that smaller towns can get. The more we invest in Milwaukee, the better outstate Wisconsin actually does. But they think that if Milwaukee makes progress, we're going to hurt the rest of the state. No, we're not. We always bring the whites along with us for the ride. Right? It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. So black progress has always meant progress for everybody. So we have a majority black Common Council. We have a Puerto Rican council president, though, which we'll save that for another day. Got a black mayor, got a black county executive. His name is David Crowley. He's in his second term. I think he won re-election to his second term by a lot of percentages, like 80% or something. He only won his first term by like 1,000 votes, but he won the second term by many, many tens of thousands of votes. He's also running for the governor. I don't want to hear any of you ask the question if a black person can become governor of the state of Wisconsin. The question you should ask yourself, and if you ask yourself this better, more informed question, can a black person win statewide in Wisconsin? Yes. A black person has won statewide in Wisconsin 3 times. David Crowley, if he wins, would make it 4. So yes, Barack Obama won the state of Wisconsin in 2008. Barack Obama won the state of Wisconsin in 2012. Mandela Barnes won a statewide contest for lieutenant governor in the 2022. Do I got any other examples? You know what's interesting? Hillary Clinton has never won the state of Wisconsin. Why do y'all hate Hillary so much? Is it her pantsuits? Was it her demeanor? Was it because of her ovaries? In 2016, well, she lost in 2008 to Barack Obama, right? Obama won the Wisconsin primary, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't Hillary. So Barack Obama won, I'm assuming, in the Wisconsin primary in 2008. Hillary Clinton runs again for president in 2016. You know who won the Wisconsin Democratic primary then? This is going to shock you. The lengths that we went to in 2016 to not elect Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin is telling for the rest of the nation. Because remember, Wisconsin is a bellwether. What we do, the nation goes. If Wisconsin decides to vote this way, everybody comes along with us because we're leaders here. I just watched the Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix last night. You should watch it. Winning. You guys remember Charlie Sheen that was doing cocaine and doing crack all the time? Zach, I think he was making movies long before you were born. He had a real popular TV show called 2.5 Men. He won Best Picture Oscar in 1986 for a movie called Platoon, one of my favorite movies of all time. He was in a movie called Wall Street, and he was in all these movies called Hot Shots. He's been in a lot of movies. He used to do a lot of crack. So anyways, Wisconsin is a predictor, but Bernie Sanders won the 2016 Democratic primary over Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders, and a lot of you like him, he can't win, but a lot of you like the Bernie Sanders. People in Wisconsin that I believe are much more moderate in their political leanings than extreme chose Bernie Sanders as the Democratic candidate over Hillary Clinton. So to answer the question, can an African American win statewide, is a resounding yes. But a Hillary Clinton cannot. But to think that because we have black elected officials, their problems for black people are going to go away is to be misinformed. And it's that misinformation that sometimes discourages people from voting because they think if we have a majority black common council and a black mayor and a black county executive, we've had a black lieutenant governor before, we have a black police chief and a black sheriff, the African Americans are going to make these incredible gains. Do you know how racism works? The more progress we make, the more racist they become. I would argue that African Americans have made sizable progress over the course of American history. And so what is Donald Trump doing now? Cutting cancer research funding because black people have higher mortality rates. And the investments that the federal government has made in cancer research has improved the lifespan of black people. So Donald Trump thinks that cancer research is DEI. Like, try and explain that to somebody that's a Trump supporter. Because black people have been dying at higher rates because of cancer. And the federal government's investment, going back to Richard Nixon's administration, the investment in cancer research, every $300 spent is another year of life that a cancer patient receives. Because African Americans had the most ground to make up, and we have made significant gains when it comes to surviving a cancer diagnosis, Trump is cutting the funding in year one by 40%. Here's what's crazy about that, if that's not crazy enough. Usually if you want to cut something as substantial, and this is a place where America is accomplished. I don't even know what we accomplish anymore. Our kids can't read. Apparently we need the National Guard in all the cities because everybody is murdering everybody. One of the places in which we are winning, where we are internationally renowned, is in cancer research. So if you're going to cut something as substantial as that, in fact, we ran like a cancer promo during my show just randomly. But if you're going to cut something that has the ability to harm so many Americans, like cancer research, year one, you know what you do? Like a 2% cut. You do it real gradually. You do it real gently because you don't want to raise the ire of the American people, and you don't want to create unnecessary political scrutiny because cutting cancer research funding has the ability to raise the temperature and the anger from both political parties. Usually year one, you do it, in a coveted way. You do like a 0.5%. Or you reduce the grant at like Harvard University for their cancer research, or you reduce the money that the Medical College of Wisconsin gets for cancer research. Like you do a 0.5% here, 0.25% here. Trump is cutting 40% year one. And to make it even worse, I'm starting to now understand the covert means and the output of having RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary. Without getting too deep into the weeds, some of the progress that this nation has made in curing and diagnosing curable diseases has been led by someone like an Anthony Fauci, who they hated Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was like 80-something years old and was like, yeah, I don't want to get COVID. I don't want y'all to get it either. Let's speed up the research and get a vaccine that saved millions of people's lives. And they is Dr. Anthony Fauci in jail? Like they wanted to oust him. I thought he was doing a great job. But if we have a leader of the National Institutes of Health, like Dr. Fauci led the fight against HIV/AIDS. Now HIV/AIDS is take a pill for it now, right? So he's had demonstrated accomplishments in the fields of health, right? So they demonized him, but RFK is anti-science. There's a whole field of people that were working on the mRNA vaccine. We first discovered, and it was widespread use of the mRNA vaccine, which, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett, a black woman, came up with the mRNA vaccine. That was in the Moderna COVID vaccine, which I got. I got a double whammy of the Moderna. And look at me. I'm strong as an ox. Slightly brain damaged, but strong as an ox. They also found that by using this new technology, the mRNA vaccine technology, that not only did it help prevent the spread of COVID, it's got cancer applications as well. Robert Kennedy cut all of the people that work for the Health and Human Services Department that were on a committee doing further research on the mRNA vaccine. So the progress that we made, I just want to give you a snapshot here. I just want people to be much more objective in their support for this current administration because they are cutting things that has the ability to do disproportionate harm to the American people. And I titled today's show, Parting is Such Sweet Sorrow, because we have to part with the old ways of a government that used to actually help people. We pay taxes. Actually, no, we don't pay taxes. Taxes are taken. But with those tax dollars, we get investments. We get cancer research. We get investments in education and infrastructure and healthcare. So we as the American people, regardless of your political or party affiliation, you should be angry because your tax bill ain't going down, but the return on our investment from the taxes that are taken is going down too. RFK being a conspiracy theorist, like measles cases are up. Who gets measles? MMR is up. Measles, mumps, and rubella. That has been like almost entirely extinguished in my lifetime. I don't even know what a rubella is. It sounds like somebody's grandmother's name, but apparently it's a disease that we had a vaccine for, but those cases are up. Measles cases are up. We have an anti-vaxxer that is leading Health and Human Services in an environment in which the president is cutting 40% year one from cancer research funding because African Americans who were dying at higher rates and disproportionately from cancer were benefiting more than white people from cancer research. So Donald Trump thinks it's DEI. So now cancer research funding is going to be cut. Some of us are going to lose loved ones because of this political decision made by the president. How do you still stand by him? How? Every day he is giving you another reason to turn your back. And more importantly, how is there a Republican Party that is going to run for election and re-election in 2026 needing and seeking Donald Trump's endorsement while some voters that these Republicans are going to need to win have loved ones suffering from cancer in which Donald Trump cut the research funding? Make that make sense. What is it about this guy? How has America become a cult? I don't like cults. They end up with you drinking Kool-Aid, and then Kool-Aid is probably very delicious. It's got to be delicious, but it kills you. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. If you haven't done so already, join us on YouTube. Search 101.7 The Truth on YouTube and hit subscribe, and then go in the chat and send us a nude. I'm kidding. You can't send nudes in the chat. Zach, could you imagine if they could send pictures in the YouTube chat, some of the stuff that we see? People send us stuff via the 833-212 text line. And if they could be sending pictures in the YouTube chat, it would be so many butt cheeks and breasts. A lot of nipples. Get you some. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Hey, Truth fam. This is your girl, Melanie Ricks, and I want to remind you to tune into Nothing But the Truth digital show with me, Melanie Ricks, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., a new episode drops on the 101.7 The Truth YouTube page. And since it is on YouTube, I hold nothing back. I give you all my hot takes on celebrity gossip and give you the tea on relationships that you don't want to miss. Subscribe to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube so you never miss Nothing But the Truth digital show, dropping every Wednesday at 6 p.m., presented by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
It's 101.7 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller from Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more. Custom T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, you name it, we can do it. Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more is family-owned and all about celebrating life's big moments. Maybe it's a milestone birthday, a celebration for your child's first goal, or that work fundraising event. We are everyone's printer. No minimum orders, affordable designs, and help straight from me and our team. We're the one-stop shop for all your custom needs. Start your project today at bigfrog.com/Mequon.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Overall, death rates are higher for black people than for white people for many common cancers: lung, colorectal, breast, and prostate. Even when incidence is similar or lower, this results in a higher cancer mortality burden in black communities, okay? So we know that already. What do you think reducing cancer research funding by 40% is going to do to those numbers? Don't fool yourself. What do you honestly think reducing cancer research funding by the federal government is going to do? When the president has used DEI as his reason and his motivation to cut cancer research funding in year one, the first year of his administration, by 40%. We know that African Americans don't really favor Donald Trump. In fact, we've been speaking out against him louder than anybody else. When are black people going to be credible? When? When we excel? When we outperform? When are we going to be given credit? When are we going to be told that we're right? When are we going to be told that we have a skill set that white people just simply can't understand, nor can they harness nor master it? When is that going to happen? I'm waiting. Been waiting my whole life. When they fail and we excel, when will they ever admit fault? 5-year relative cancer, all cancers combined, 69% for people diagnosed between 2014 and 2020. Survival improved for everyone since the 1960s, but the gains have been far larger for white people. Site-specific survival disparities. Breast cancer. Black women are 38% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, despite similar or slightly lower incidence, driven by late-stage at diagnosis biology for some subtypes and access/treatment differences. Uterine endometrial cancer, 5-year survival rate is lower for black women. Example, 63% versus white women, 84% for uterine corpus cancer, one of the largest racial survival gaps we have. Oral cavity and pharynx, 5-year survival rate, 57% in black people versus 71% in white people. Again, reflecting late stage and treatment access differences. What do you think defunding cancer research is going to do to these numbers? He is going to kill us. Cancer research investment by the federal government is DEI because it helps African Americans reduce and eliminate the disparity that we have in cancer survival rates, so he is cutting it. Lady, that's not attempted murder. Ladies and gentlemen, rather, that's not attempted murder. That's homicide. Let's talk to Al. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing fine. But, you know, a lot of these Republicans is not going to say nothing because a lot of them love to be treated like tricks. You have this administration right now profiting off of these Republican farmers losing their land. And somebody from that administration is profiting. You got millions of dollars going to other countries, and you got these Republicans sitting there saying nothing. They sitting up here, these Republicans getting mad about other stuff, and they are the number one leaders down in she-male porn. Y'all can do the research, lawsuit.org for that.
Did you say she-male?
She-male. They like she-males. She-males, go to lawsuit.org. And it comes up that Republicans in their browsers be looking for chicks with sticks. She-males and ladyboys. There's something about that 9-inch secret down in them southern states.
All right.
So my question to the Republicans, since you've been lied to, how does it feel to get F in your ass?
Oh, Al.
Because if
Al, you're going to get me canceled. I'm already probably going to get fired because I'm doing so good. Now you're going to get me canceled.
Well, I'm just saying they want to cut cancer. But let me tell you something. You throttle my throat, goat. If you come down with cancer, sucking D is not.
All right, we got Al. Okay, we got to hang up on Al now. I'm already in trouble because I'm doing too good here. So that's really going to be the nail in my coffin. Like, I do think my days here are numbered because the show is going too well. And, you know, whenever a thing is going well, you got to get rid of it. So that isn't going to help. Did he have to go there? He was making a point. He wanted to ask the Republicans a question. I was like, okay, I'm here for that. This is a political talk show. I brought my many years of working in the realm of politics to this program, and I think that's why it works, because I have worked for a member of Congress and a mayor. I've been an appointee of a governor I've worked on. I can't tell you how many campaigns, everything from aldermanic to judicial all the way up to presidential campaigns. I've seen it at so many levels. I've worked deep in the administrations of high-level elected officials. I've seen how it works, and oftentimes it is not how the American people think it works. And so that's why I think my program executes the way that it does, because I can explain things that a layperson may not see. And I don't blame you, because following American politics is kind of stupid, because it's really disappointing. Because you listen to all these great things on the campaign trail, and it's really inspiring. All the things that they want to do, and a good candidate will see the world the way you see it, and they also see the problems that you see, but they have the power to fix it because they control the purse strings, they control executive orders and bills and laws, and they're on committees, and they can take problems that we have as people, and they can analyze them, and they can research them, and they can apply tax dollars to remedying those problems. The unfortunate thing is it doesn't happen that way because partisanship gets in the way. So I've been able to see all of that, and I deliver it here, and I think it works shockingly well. But sometimes when things work too well, they got to fire you, which, you know, it's all right. Who do we got? We got, let's talk to Evelyn. Evelyn, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you today, Evelyn?
I'm doing fine, and thank you so much for that feedback. However, I do want to say that the American people have the power, and that's one of the things that's been lost. Politicians, they are going into the offices and they're treating the fact that they are a politician as a career, and that's fine and well. However, our vote has the power over everything, and it's critical that we are able to speak freely and also do it in a way that's respectful to everyone. So I just wanted to remind everyone that the power is in our vote, not in our words. And the actions of the politicians, you know, that's a whole nother issue of debate, because oftentimes politicians have told us that they are going to do certain things that they never do. And we find out the frustration is we don't see the change. We don't see the development. All we see, especially locally, is just a bunch of talk and self-gratification.
Evelyn, I agree with you. The power is in our vote. The people that are in office right now are the ones that can actually win. When we live in an environment where voter participation, as an example, I would argue that Our system of public education here in Milwaukee leaves a lot to be desired. That's why they keep changing superintendents and making all these different changes, but the output is still poor. What do we say when only 10% of the eligible registered voters vote in a school board race, and the school board creates policy to educate our young people to be competitive in the professional world? So I agree with you. Our vote is our power, but what do we do when 90% of the people don't exercise that power? We are then left with the people that can get elected when 90% of the people stay home.
Okay, I can tell you this.
Okay.
I have an alderperson that's supposed to reach over 40,000 constituents, but the actual voters are, I think the alderperson ran by 3,000. And I understand what you're saying. It's actually less than 10% that are coming to the polls. And what do? We ask, and we continuously, throughout the years, throughout those 12 months, that we continue to ask people to vote. One thing that everyone forgets, and Trump's original administration for the first 4 years, the only thing he did consistently to help himself was he campaigned through the entire 4 years. And if Trump can campaign for 4 years straight, every single month, every single opportunity, we can ask for our local votes continuously. Right now, we have no platforms to openly speak with our alderpersons, the head of the council person.
What do you mean?
We have no platform.
What do you mean we don't have? We can email. Hold on, I want to clear this up, Evelyn, because if you believe this, other people might believe it as well. You can call them, you can write them, you can email them. All of them have social media platforms, whether that be Instagram, whether that be Facebook, whether that be Twitter. We have plenty of platforms, but more importantly, we have platforms to reach one another. We can still knock on doors, and we can talk to people in person. We can see them at the farmer's market. We can see them at the grocery store. Hell, we can see them at church. We can see them in the drop-off line when they drop the kids off at North Division High School. So I'm trying to figure out, how is this our fault?
I am a citizen. I'm over 60 years old. I believe in my vote, and I believe in putting it in action. Okay. Everything that you've talked about, me and in my community, we have tried to do all of those things. There is no reason why any constituent should be calling an alderperson and never receive consistent callbacks. We have written letters to the city asking the city that we participate in a portion of the government, only to have the city of Milwaukee to come back and refuse us to do so. How do they refuse us? They ignore us. I am talking from experience. I am talking from facts. I'm not saying anything that is not true. I am not misconceived.
So, Evelyn, with that being said, and I appreciate your passion, but why would anybody vote? We said
What do you mean, why would they vote?
You said our power is in our vote, and I believe you when you said that. But Evan, hold on a second. If they don't call you back and they're not responding to you, and people vote to get these people in office, and you believe that you don't have a means or a mechanism of getting in contact with them, then why would anybody vote for someone that is not going to get back in contact with them? I'm going to have that as a rhetorical question. Just want to try and figure out the things. I know that when there are budget hearings, those are sparsely attended. And no, she's right. If an alderperson has got 45 or even 50,000 constituents and only 3,000 people vote in that election, the turnout is going to be low most of the time because it's a spring election. Turnout is going to be lower there. And spring elections tend to trend older demographically, and there are less and less older people in our communities every single day, especially in black communities. So a nonpartisan election, less votes. If you can't see Democrat versus Republican, a lot of folks don't vote at all. Spring election is going to be lower turnout, and they trend older, right? But of 40,000 or 50,000 constituents, some are children. Some can't vote. Some are felons. Some can't vote. Some are in confinement at that moment, and they can't vote. Some people are not registered. Some people are not literate. Some people are in the hospital. So you see what I'm trying to get at here? You may have a large number of constituents. A lot of them are children. A lot of them are disenfranchised by a number of different things. So I think we get a little deceived when we see, 40 or 50,000 constituents in this district, but only 3,000 people vote. And then a whole bunch of people are just apathetic. They believe, like Evelyn does, I voted for somebody. I called their office. They didn't call me back. I'm never voting again. So that can explain.
TheTruth.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
What was the life change? You know, we all know it happened and we know things happen and you have bad kidneys, but what was the life change afterwards?
A couple things. Before they even allow you to get on the list, they make you go through a battery of tests. And, you know, a lot of people don't qualify because they're overweight or they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So all those things are requirements before you can even get approved to be on the list. So I had...
Wait, you got to be approved to be on the list?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's interesting. There's a professional athlete or former professional athlete I know right now that has kidney disease and he's on dialysis and he wants to get on the list and he's not accepting all the things you have to do, you know, to get on the list. But yeah, so for me, I spent 30 years in the automobile industry. You know, that's 12, 14-hour days, eating whatever somebody brings you to eat, whatever you run out and grab, McDonald's, whatever. It was never salads and, you know.
Yeah, but that was a choice, right?
It was a choice. Yeah. But I had to change all of that to even qualify to be on the list. I had to get down to the weight I had to be at. I had to get my phosphorus under control, my potassium under control.
Wait a minute, even though somebody said they would give you a kidney,
absolutely,
you had to still make yourself eligible?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the athlete, his relative actually died, and they wanted to take his organs, and they couldn't because he wasn't qualified. He wasn't on the list. Wow. Yeah, you have to be.
So there are over 100,000 people on that waiting list. So they are very serious.
And how many donors do we have?
And that's the problem. We don't have nearly enough donors.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a critical need. But they are serious about who they're giving that gift of life to because there are so many people who are literally dying waiting for it.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Uptown Yanny says, a lot of people don't know Wisconsin is not a disenfranchised state. You can vote as long as you have completed all terms of sentencing, including felons. That is correct. So it only applies to felons. Here's the thing, though. You could be off paper. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will. But sometimes you still owe restitution. You got to pay restitution to your victim. Let's say you still owe restitution of like $1,000. Have you completed your sentence? If you served all of your conditions of confinement and extended supervision, but you still owe money in restitution? Because there have been people, and this is where it gets tricky. There have been people that thought they completed all of their terms of their sentence. Because it's not like, I don't think you get a letter in the mail saying, hey, congratulations, you can vote today. You just have to know the date. But if you owe restitution still, let's say technically you're off paper. You served the 7 years of extended supervision. You did 3 years in the box, 7 years of extended supervision. For someone who got a 10-year sentence, it sometimes can work like that. 3 years in, 7 years on extended supervision. You complete your full 10-year sentence, but you still owe restitution. Some people have gone and voted and either misjudged their date, their release date, their enfranchised date by 1 day. Imagine if you complete your sentence on a Wednesday, but the damn election is on Tuesday. That's voter fraud. And they'll promote that, and they'll charge you with another damn felony if people make honest mistakes. Most of voter fraud that relates to that, where someone does not know their exact date or they miscalculate their date, That's what a lot of voter fraud is, and the rest of it is just human error. Let's talk to Brandon. Brandon's been hanging on forever. Hi, Brandon. How are you? Thank you for holding. What's on your mind?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the call. I just kind of had a few questions. You made a lot of comments that really made a lot of sense in regards to the voting population, the largest constituent being those who don't. But I don't understand how you could kind of access all of this information but still be such a hardcore Democrat. It seems as though as African Americans, we ought to probably disassociate with each party and kind of be like mercenaries, for lack of a better word, or independent voters. I think the emphasis should be far more on local elections and local politics. And it just doesn't seem like our constituents, the typical African American in Milwaukee, really has enough moxie or intellectual capability to pull out resources from the folks that they elect locally.
You're right.
So those are just my comments.
Thank you, Brandon. You make very good comments. If people don't understand civics and the depth and breadth of the political process, getting them to be abstract, critical political thinkers where they are hyper-partisan and or focus on local elections is an academic pursuit. We don't have that. I think 15% of our 8th graders can read on grade level. Some of them may never catch up. They may graduate from high school. Maybe 20% of them can read as a high school senior at the level a high school seniors should read. That low level of literacy is not going to bode itself to someone being able to decipher a referendum on a ballot that is written by someone with a master's degree in political science. While I totally agree, we got to take baby steps. The overwhelming majority of the public is not very politically skilled. Because if we were, we would budget our money to contribute to candidates that see the world as we do. That's how you know that we don't prioritize things like we should. The stuff that we buy, that we set money aside for, the stuff that we buy when we are broke is where our highest priorities often are. Contributing to political candidates is something that we as African Americans disproportionately do not do. And what the Obamas did, because Michelle was involved in this as well, is they perfected the small dollar donor. They sent you a text message where you replied to the text message, you could send $5. So when Barack Obama did that for the first time, because we'd never seen that before, using digital means to send out a link where someone could contribute. Like this is before they had the Venmo and the Zelle and the Cash App and all of the things. Barack Obama raised $99 million that quarter because people didn't know they could donate $3 or $4 or $2 to a candidate. And I don't believe that Barack Obama would have won if it wasn't for those small dollar donations. But we don't contribute to our political candidates. In fact, it is a worthy investment, especially if someone gets elected with the resources of the people, they're going to call you back. But if we don't contribute, the money is going to come from somewhere. So if the insurance industry, as an example, is funding our elected officials' campaigns and the elected official can't answer every phone call, whose call you think going to go first? The people that give them the damn money. I have seen it before. We have had real, honest, grassroots campaigns where the people rose up and were fed up with what was going on in their local area, and an activist just kind of rose from the ashes. During Ferguson, there's an African-American woman, her name is escaping me, but she was an active participant in protests when Michael Brown was killed. They elected her to Congress. The people did, not special interests. We have the ability to do that. And here's what I don't like. I don't like when we, the people, blame something else or someone else or blame the system on why we aren't doing right by one another. Like we blame an elected official why more of us don't vote. Or we blame the elected official why more of us don't get active. We blame an elected official why more of us don't do research. You research everything else. You can tell me how much a new pair of eyelashes cost. How much do eyelashes cost, by the way? Just curious. Let's talk to someone who may or may not know. Hello, Linda. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Professor. And good morning to Truth Nation and all the beautiful black and white people of Milwaukee and America.
Hey.
And we need to send, hey, Sherwin.
There you go. You got to get it right. All right.
Hey, Sherwin. Yeah, I just wanted to send a message to all the good-hearted black and white good people in America that is not a part of this violence and this hate that loves all people. I just want to say thank God for you and keep being you, because the more positive, loving energy we put in this America, the better and the more it drives out the hate in America. So, Sherwin, I think that the sound bites that you played earlier with, is it Kennedy?
Yes.
I think that we need, as a public, as Americans, need to hear more of those from Kennedy, from Malcolm, from Martin, and all the positive leaders that left, good seed. We need to see the difference in this messaging, that one side is preaching, but yet they leave a trail of violence and aggression. And then compared to those who led with the message of unity and left seeds of, hope and you know what I'm saying. So anyway, that's what I got from that soundbite. Just in that soundbite, just that download, just that we need to see the comparison because, you already know. But anyway, when you were talking about the political astuteness that you have, the gift of insight that you have, your political precision and insight. It's a gift. It's your political IQ, which is different from your emotional IQ. I have to say, as an educator and observation, is that your emotional IQ is not as insightful, but it really is intriguing. And I have to also comment this: when you said that me helping Kim was some form of some trauma in my own life. Yes, I had to go into that because we learn from the reaction of other people. When you know about trauma and healing, that's how you inform your trauma and healing when you investigate the response of other people. So then I investigated that statement you had, that insight, and I realized, yes, that is something that I experienced when I was going through my divorce and stuff, and out here by myself and with 3 sons and then 3 kids, 3 babies that were given to me at birth. I didn't give them away. I didn't do anything. I took care of them, and I took it. But yet that was a subconscious experience that probably paid itself out with Kim and her 5 kids. I'd like to say, that, thank you for that. But yes.
All right.
That's what I had. Then the other.
Oh, good.
The other funny thing I had this morning. Guess what? Left my back door open, and guess what? I had a half of. She had left some white bread, which I don't eat, and I was feeding it to the animals, the creatures, right? What? Man, half of the loaf was in my doorway. I'll be dog. I left the back door open, and I think it was either a what do you call it? That thing that crawls at night, got the big eyes and the pointy nose.
A possum?
Yeah, he came into my hallway and he ate some of my bread. So,
Linda, your life is a mess. Goodbye. Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, then. Why did that happen? How did that go from a possum eating white bread that Kim and her 5 kids left that she doesn't eat? I deserve to get fired, I think. I think I deserve to have this show canceled because of that. Also, Linda, if you're still listening, I talk on a radio show for 3 hours a day. I don't know if that gives you enough insight about me to know my emotional intelligence. But you know what it is? It's because Linda's shocked that I don't want to hump her. That's, you know what I mean? I think that's, you must have low intelligence because you don't want my amps. All right, I'm going to take a break. Since, I don't know, I'm probably going to get fired. So, Zach, what you going to do when I'm fired? Well, you're going to be fine.
I'm coming with you.
Oh, all right, word. All right, we'll both be fired together. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this.
Congratulations.
Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Got outgrown kids' clothes, toys, books, and baby gear? Turn clutter into cash at Just Between Friends, Milwaukee County. Consigners earn 60% and get to shop early with a friend. Unsold items? Donate to help local families in need. The sale runs September 18th through the 21st at Wisconsin State Fair Expo Center. Pre-sale September 18th. Free shopping September 19th and 20th, plus half price pre-sale and sale. Paid and free tickets available online. Register to consign, drop off items September 17th, pick up or donate September 22nd. Visit Milwaukee County JBFsale.com, helping families say yes.
School's back in session. Kids have their backpacks, school supplies, and new clothes. But are you ready as a parent? Families are the single most important factor in a child's academic success. This year, get to know your child's teachers. Stay engaged with their learning. Don't be shy about asking questions along the way. Because as a parent, you are your child's first and most important teacher. Learn more about how City Forward Collective is helping families, students, and schools thrive at cityforwardcollective.org.
Talk to these people in terms of how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person, depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the first-time home buyer education workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So what I was attempting to do with today's show was show, while being objective, where Donald Trump has really broken from tradition of American presidents of either party. On a previous program, I talked about his overall lack of compassion. He doesn't really show affection to people. I don't even see dude really hugging and kissing his wife very much. And I have not seen him illustrate compassion to the American people that are hurting, that are suffering, going to a disaster site and hugging somebody or walking with someone after they've just shown the president that their house has been destroyed and him assuring them that everything is going to be okay. He's not that kind of guy. But then there are things like cancer research with both parties supporting it, and that is somewhere where the United States has made sizable gains, including helping to reduce but not eliminate the disparity that African Americans have when we are diagnosed with cancer. We are diagnosed with worse, more severe forms, and we are diagnosed later, making our mortality rates higher. And because there has been less healthcare investment prior to the Affordable Care Act, less healthcare investment in African American communities, our mortality rates have remained sky high when it comes to cancer. Okay? The Affordable Care Act has now injected more resources into our community, more urgent care clinics, more health care clinics, et cetera, et cetera. But Donald Trump wants to cut that dramatically. Not only is he going to dramatically cut the impact of the Affordable Care Act, which we know that Barack Obama created because African Americans had the worst health disparities across the board than anybody else. So that is where Barack Obama put all of his political energy, into the Affordable Care Act. And you have to wonder why he did that. Why did he go to the wall and risk it all for the Affordable Care Act? Because he knew that that was the one thing that African Americans needed more than anything else. You get your jobs, you get your economy, you get your income after that. First, you got to stay alive and be able to get health care. Starting January 1, 2026, on average, if you have health insurance through the exchange, the Affordable Care Act exchange, in which 24 million of you do, at minimum, your health insurance premium is going to go up by 75%. You know what that means? Especially if the jobs market is going to continue on this trajectory, going down, less employment, more unemployment, and tariffs going up. Some of you are not going to be able to afford your health insurance. That's number one. Number two, cancer research funding for 2026 is going to be reduced by almost 40%. Some of you may get cancer. Some of you may know a friend, a family, or a loved one that may get cancer. They're more likely to die in Donald Trump's America. That's problematic for everybody. And nobody is saying anything about it. Well, I'm going to say something about it. And I'm going to get fired. Either somebody going to get me, Zach. Either I'm going to die on the air again. I should investigate if Trump did that. Or the FBI and the CIA is going to come get me. Kash Patel is going to show up. Or my show is just going to get canceled because, why not? Let's talk to Rob. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Rob?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Going good. What's on your mind?
I want to know if you had heard about that lynching in Mississippi at Delta State University.
No, when did it happen?
Just recently. They found this boy hanging.
Oh, no.
From the tree, and they said...
Like recently, like in the last week?
Yeah. I think it a day before yesterday or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I think it was like day before yesterday. But anyway, they was trying to say that he hung himself. But now they found out that his legs broke, his arms broke, or whatever, and bruises over his body.
I see it right here. Yeah, it's yesterday.
That's really sad, man. That's really sad. And then what about the one boy up in what's that? I can't call the name of it. It's in Wisconsin. The little black boy that they beat up and tried to throw him in a meat grinder.
What?
Yeah,
I can't keep up with all that. I don't. Yeah, looks like black people are suffering, and our cancer research funding is. Now here's the good news, though. Those are horrible things, but also this is America, and they're also isolated incidents. But I do appreciate you calling and giving us more things to be terribly sad about. That's not good news. Well, I guess if it's not Charlie Kirk, we don't really hear about it. You ever notice how real violent content usually gets pulled off of social media, but the Charlie Kirk assassination was everywhere? There's something odd about that. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
Hey, Truth fam. This is your girl, Melanie Ricks, and I want to remind you to tune into Nothing But the Truth digital show with me, Melanie Ricks, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., a new episode drops on the 101.7 The Truth YouTube page. And since it is on YouTube, I hold nothing back. I give you all my hot takes on celebrity gossip and give you the tea on relationships that you don't want to miss. Subscribe to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube so you never miss Nothing But the Truth digital show, dropping every Wednesday at 6 p.m., presented by Visit Milwaukee. Handcrafted, homegrown, world class.
Tune in to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth Black Business Give Back Spotlight this Friday at 3:57 p.m. between the Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. I'll be joined by Sensore Irvin, founder and executive director at Resources and Beyond. We will discuss her efforts in creating family stability for people in Milwaukee and why she opened up a community food pantry to provide the necessary resources to those in need in our community. So again, that's the Black Business Give Back Spotlight with Resources and Beyond this Friday at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. The biggest snowflakes out here have always been the white Republicans who are so gung-ho on protecting the feelings of white kids while they ignore the needs of other kids. If Milwaukee's youth has a problem with fighting, well, white youth have a problem with being destructive and offensive. So it is sad that our government is actively working to de-emphasize educating and uplifting students of color in different backgrounds on college campuses. That emphasis is going to be diminished, and the only kids that will suffer will be our kids. They were willing to hold up the advancement of the state of Wisconsin because they disagree with DEI. What are white Republicans afraid of? Why are they afraid to face the fact that their grandmas and grandpapas were part of a system which purposely held black folks back and failed to give us the access that we deserve? Until these politicians stop ignoring these egregious acts of hate and racial incidents, America can never be great again.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
Day 1. Diagnosis day, the hardest day, the day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day one is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day one.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. You would think that there would be some kind of unifying force in our government because every member of Congress has the ability to do that. I don't know if we're aware, but any U.S. senator, any member of the House can call a press conference and say, hey, you know what, America? We don't really like what is happening right now. We need something or someone to attempt to bring us together because together, we know this, we're all stronger. Somebody could do that. Anybody could do that, but nobody is. It would give so much more hope to the American people if there was just someone out there willing to say publicly that things are not going as planned. And even if you're an avid Trump supporter, I'm watching there's a hearing on, this is MSNBC. It's on one of the monitors here in my studio, where Kash Patel, Donald Trump's hand-picked leader of the FBI, missed a bunch of really obvious things that led up to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. If you are an avid Trump supporter, while I am not one, I have spoken to plenty, and a lot of them have shared their thoughts with me. I don't know if they are served by the political leanings of the FBI, where it's not doing its job in protecting the American people from threats. It is more sycophantic to Donald Trump. How does that serve the American people when Donald Trump only has support from something like 35% of the people? How is an FBI director that is obviously ignoring things that he should not, and he also has a decided lack of experience in being a federal investigator, how does that serve the American people? If you or someone you know has ever been diagnosed with cancer, please tell me how voting for Donald Trump has equated to a 40% reduction in cancer research funding. We know that every $300 the federal government invests in cancer research, we are extending someone's life who is post-diagnosis by at least 1 year. A 40% reduction in that funding is going to lead to one thing and one thing only: more deaths across the board. Now, more African Americans are diagnosed with terminal cancer, worse stages, later diagnosis, et cetera, et cetera. So more African Americans will likely die in aggregate, but it's going to harm white people and Asian people and Latinos and Hispanics, et cetera. How do you justify that as someone who supported Donald Trump? We need someone or something to say, hey, everybody, it's going to get better. Even if it isn't, we still like to hear that. So as I'm scouring through information and articles and all the things that our media environment provides us these days, I come across a story. And remember, I'm looking for optimistic things, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like to have to start the show on such a pessimistic tone and talk about these horrible things that this president is doing and supporting, where he is breaking from tradition and doing so in an unnecessary way. But I got to point out these contrasts because I have been informed after many, many years of broadcasting, which I don't really get enough credit for, but that's fine. Most people think the Democrats and Republicans are the same. They don't really see a lot of difference. They think that they are both corrupt. And I take that very personal because I know that there are differences in the party's structures. There's differences in their primary processes. There's differences in their policy pronouncements and their platforms. So where there is a misunderstanding amongst the people where they think the parties are the same, I try to do my level best to illustrate very clear and fundamental differences. It seems to me, it just seems, in the last couple of presidential cycles where a Democrat has run and won, Kamala Harris doesn't count, so a Democrat had to have run for president and won, they seem to be more unifying. Joe Biden seemed to be more unifying. He seemed to want to combine the resources of the federal government to actually help people, whether it be disaster relief, whether it be funding for COVID, whether it be supporting the Affordable Care Act. It seems that he wanted to bring people together. Now, you have to look hard to find the divisiveness of Joe Biden, but I think with the infrastructure projects that he supported, even in Republican districts, and they needed new bridges and roads too, Joe Biden said something very fascinating. He said, all these Republicans voted against my infrastructure bill, but they were the first ones with a shovel at the groundbreaking. It seemed that Barack Obama was a bit more of a unifying force. Remember that speech that Barack Obama gave? Of course not, because you probably didn't watch it in the first place. He said it at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. He said, there's not a red America. There's not a blue America. There's only the United States of America. White folks went nuts. They did, and rightfully so. Finally, you got an African-American person that's talking about there's no red, there's no blue. Basically, that's covert means for there's no black, there's no white, there's only American. Even though we know it's a bit more nuanced than that, it was great. It was unifying, wasn't it? George Bush after September 11th. We're going to go get these terrorists. We're going to make sure that they hear us Americans all together. It was unifying. Who else? I don't know. Reagan probably said some unifying stuff too. Side note on Reagan. He was so pro-illegal immigration. The closest we ever got to giving illegals amnesty was under Ronald Reagan. Oh, Reagan signed the Dr. Martin Luther King federal holiday into law. And every state adhered to that law, except Arizona, for some reason. In fact, John McCain, a lot of folks didn't mention this about John McCain, who was the maverick senator from Arizona. He was against the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. That's terrible. So was Charlie Kirk. But, I mean, his thoughts on Martin Luther King's holiday doesn't matter because they're both in the same place. Maybe not. Maybe not in the same place. I don't know. Don't know if they're going to be sharing space. You know what I mean? Yes, Zach said the same thing happened to them. Yeah. We don't have any unifying forces because, and I hate to admit this, but division sells. It does. Why do all the horrible things sell? What does that say about us as Americans? You know what else sells? Sex. Sex sells. If you have a product and it's not selling very good, maybe you sell, what's something people can sell? Hats, right? I have a hat right here. People sell hats. And they can have an advertising campaign saying, oh, we have the best hats. We have the finest hats made of the finest cottons and polyesters and polyester cotton blends. We have the best hats. They're comfortable hats. Whatever. They got a whole campaign about their hat. And it's not selling so good. You know what would help that hat sell? Put a nipple on it. Just one nipple. And people are like, oh, And it'll trend on TikTok. Sex sells. I don't even know why men have nipples. Have you ever given that any thought? For what? Now, we would look weird without them. That's the first thing I'd have to say. Imagine a nippleless man chest. And you saw like a dude at the beach. He's just pretending like nothing is wrong, right? And his chest is just, it's smooth in the nipple area. There's nothing there. I'd have to ask him. I mean, excuse me, sir. This is not the first time you're going to get this question, but the naughty things, the bad things, the evil things, the sinister things seem to sell. Division sells, but division is not supposed to be, used in our politics because America is already really divided on a bunch of different lines, racial lines, class lines. I live in an urban area. We're urban people, some of us. Some people are rural people. The rural people have a beef with us because, I don't know, they think there's more crime here. But a mass shooting in a town of 600 people, like a school shooting that kills 10 people, is a murder rate that is 5 to 6 times higher than that in Milwaukee. But you'd think, like, oh, no, this mass shooting that happened in this town of 600 people, it's a horrible, isolated incident. If you apply that same per capita figure to Milwaukee, that would mean 1,000 homicides in the city of Milwaukee. So technically, our murder rate might be lower than some of the rural places that everybody deems as safe. Bottom line is we're divided on a whole bunch of different things. Race, culture, religion, income, education, geography, political party affiliation. We're even divided on issues. We're divided on taxes and tax breaks. We're divided on immigration. I don't care if the immigrants come here. Come on over. Come on. Come get a job and work and do stuff that Americans don't want to do. As long as you're not causing any trouble, but they don't cause trouble. Americans commit more crimes than immigrants. Way more, dramatically more. They're very nice people, but we put them under such incredible scrutiny. Why do we put good people under scrutiny? You know what our biggest threat is from the immigrants? You know what hurts us more than anything else that nobody talks about? Sometimes they witness crimes. They witness crimes where one of us, a legal citizen, is hurt. They're the only witness to the crime. They saw the whole crime. They have the cell phone footage that can put somebody away if one of us is ever victimized, but they're afraid to come forward because even if they're the witness of a crime, they'll still be deported because of their legal status. Therefore, they are not reporting crimes and sharing evidence. That hurts us. Sometimes the immigrant is the only person to witness the damn crime. Maria, she's standing on the corner on the bus stop. We love Maria. Maria goes to work and works hard. Aww. And Maria sees a terrible crime. Oh, no. It's terrible. It's horrible. And then the police come. And Maria's still standing there because her number 27 bus hasn't come yet. She has to go to work, cleaning a very large office building. And the police come, and they say, hey, did anybody witness what happened? And Maria turns her head. She looks away. And the cop says, excuse me, ma'am, I'm assuming your name is Maria. I mean, you're wearing a maid outfit on the bus stop and some yellow gloves. Maria, did you see anything? Did you witness this crime, Maria? You were standing right here on the bus stop when this person got shot. And then Maria will say, no, I didn't see no crime. She's afraid to come forward because she might get deported. Now, they're going to deport her anyway because she's standing on the bus stop wearing a maid uniform and she's wearing those yellow dishwashing gloves. She just wears them all the time. Why would she ever take them off? She works a lot. She works so much. Oh, Evelyn's calling back. All right, let's talk to Evelyn, I guess. Hello, Evelyn. Did you discover something new?
Yes.
Oh.
You asked the question, why, after all of that, why should we vote?
Yes.
Well, we should vote because of the number of tactics that have been used against people of color in the past, in our history, to keep us from voting. They used sacks of grain. If you go to the voting poll, you had to tell them the number of grains that were in a sack.
How many angels can dance on the head of a pin? I know they did all sorts of things before the Voting Rights Act, but you know that the Voting Rights Act has essentially been struck down as unconstitutional. That's number one. Number two, if I can't feed my family because my job doesn't pay enough and my benefits have been eliminated and they're about to cut the Affordable Care Act and we've got a reckless driving problem and a crime problem in the city of Milwaukee and my rent is too expensive and my refrigerator doesn't work and my air conditioner went out, what is voting going to do for all of that? These are the immediate needs. What if I can't feed my kids? What if my kids are below grade level on reading and math? If I go vote in the midterm election in 2026, how does that fix any of those problems? My car isn't running. I need new brakes. I got to buy school clothes for the kids.
Voice. It's your voice and your right to pick the representative that you think most closely fits what you need for you and your family.
You understand that? I understand that, but I have got immediate needs. My kids are hungry now. My kids can't read now. My car needs repair right now. My rent is too high right now. To a layperson that doesn't vote, and they say they don't vote because all those things that are their immediate needs in this moment are not going to get resolved. What do you say to that person? How is voting going to immediately change the situation?
I'll say this to that person. You need to pivot. You need to sit down and you need to figure out how you got where you are. How are you going to make a change? And what do you need to do to make that change? Every last one of us has had a problem in our lives. But the only person that can solve your problem, the first stop is yourself. First, you have to look at what am I doing in my lifestyle that's affecting everything else in a negative manner. Because if you can't feed your kids, there's a lot of different indicators that lead up to that. And
they probably would agree with you, Evelyn, but then they would say to you, why am I voting? I'm going to take time to figure out what went wrong in my life. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to try and improve my life. How is voting for someone going to help me with any of those things? I just lost my health care. My job is on the line. How is voting for alderperson or school board? Because these are real questions that somebody's going to ask you, because those same questions have been put to me, and I have no answer for them. Because I got to be honest with them and tell them, your circumstances probably not going to change.
Never have any rights. If you give up your right to vote, you will never have any rights.
Evelyn, we're losing our rights right now.
You will be.
Women have lost their reproductive rights. The Voting Rights Act, which we were referencing a moment ago, that has essentially been overturned. Donald Trump is now asking states to turn over voter data to him, even though states are the ones that are supposed to be running elections. We have already lost our voting rights. So again, what do we tell that person? Why do we tell that person that they should vote? For what? Now, I'm not discouraging anybody from voting, but from the perspective of someone who has never cast a vote because they don't see the benefit of it, all we can do is speak in platitudes. We can say, we fought and died for this right to vote. Back in the day, they used to lynch us. They're still lynching us now, according to a caller a little while ago. For what? So we can have more division and more separation, so Milwaukee has more punitive measures put on it by a Republican-controlled state government, while we get less shared revenue than everybody, but still contribute more tax revenue to every other part of the state. Why should anybody vote? What is going to change? Now, I know why I vote. It's a much more nebulous reason why I do it. I do it because it's important. I do it because it's symbolic. I do it to not be a damn hypocrite. But I don't expect an immediate change in my life. The best I can hope for is if tens of millions of people see the world as I do, we will then collectively put a person, a strategy, a party, or a platform in office that in 20 years, something may get better. Not tomorrow, not next month. In 20 years, maybe something for someone else will be less tenuous and stressful than it is for me right now. That's why I do it. For a person that I haven't even met and will never meet, for someone I don't know, I vote for people to have better lives, even if I don't like them. That's why we vote. Now, if you tell somebody who has never voted before that has immediate needs, they're going to walk away from politics forever, because it's not about serving them in the moment right now. Unless you get a stimmy. We all love getting stimmies. That was the conversation for a while. It was like, hey. You always start the conversation with, hey. And you didn't just get a stimmy, because that was immediate gratification, right? Did your stimmy hit? You didn't get a stimmy. Your stimmy hit. Hey, Zach, did your stimmy hit? Mine hit last night. Oh, y'all are probably hit today. Yeah, my stimmy hit. It was like a hit of dope. Because it's not like, oh, my stimulus check was direct deposit. No, that stimmy hit. That stimmy hit like a blunt.
So good.
It sure did. How many stimmies did we get? Like 5? Some of y'all lived off them stimmies. And then there was the PPP loans. Oops. Some of y'all going to jail for those. The government was like, hey, do you have a business? We don't care what kind. We don't care what you do. We don't care if you're profitable or not. You want $73,000? Here you go. Submit this form via email and give us your bank routing number. You know, y'all remember seeing them pictures of black folks from Milwaukee going to Arizona and like renting Bentleys? They're all in jail now. They made it too easy. You even had Republicans that got PPP loans, Paycheck Protection Plan loans that they didn't pay back. Nothing happened to them. All right, I got to take a break. I got an article here from a notable elected official. In fact, somebody that I interviewed before, a member of Congress. And they could have taken this opportunity because there's a bunch of articles about this person and what they said. And earlier I was saying we need someone that can bring us together. Any member of Congress can call a press conference and say, hey, America, I feel your pain. We're all divided. I want to bring us together. Anybody can do that. And I think it would encourage more optimism amongst the American people, especially in all this division and the red versus blue and the black and the white and the liberal and the conservative and urban and the rural and the highly educated and the not educated, all these different divisions that we have, and divisions are being used for positive political gain. There's a member of Congress that said something, and I'm going to talk about what they said because this was an opportunity for her, a little hint, to bring us all together. I'm going to tell you what she said on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
What up, Truth Nation? It's Kyle Walsh, and I'm broadcasting live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown on Tuesday, September 16th from noon until 1. Come ride the wave and kick off your week with a clean ride and good vibes. I'll be at 5209 West Fond du Lac Avenue, holding it down live at Tsunami Express Car Wash. Again, that's Tuesday, September 16th, Truth to Power from 12 until 1, live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown Milwaukee. Wash, chill, repeat.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you can save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Are you ready to level up your mindset, money, and your future? Join Coach Erica Odom, real estate investor, success coach, and published author, for our new monthly show, On the Journey with Coach Erica. Every month, she will give you real strategies, proven tips, and the mindset shift you need to reach your goals. Tune in tonight at 6 p.m. as Erica will be joined by Alexandria Ellis of Giovanna Wellness, LLC, and Rashad Washington of Pro Painters USA for a great discussion. That's On the Journey with Coach Erica tonight at 6 p.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. So listen to the show and learn a bunch of stuff. I want to do like investment stuff, but I'm nervous because if I recommend an investment and you lose money, you're going to be mad at me instead of the market. So I'm nervous about that. But there's still a major gap in our understanding of stocks and bonds and trading and equities and options and exchange traded funds. There's a huge gap in our understanding of it. And it's not really that complicated. It's just no one has ever really sat down with us and told us and shown us how you save your money, how you put your money away, how to be more financially fluent. But it's not even about saving money. Don't save money, you invest money. You save time. Money ain't saved. Money is invested or it's spent. But how you spend money is also sound financial fluency, too. Sometimes we spend money on really dumb stuff. So who knows? Maybe I'll get an expert in here. I know our first year of broadcasting, we did segments with Northwestern Mutual to try and boost our listenership's understanding of investing and all sorts of others. I don't know if it did any good, but I know that that is still a theme in which we lack sufficient knowledge. All right. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Do you guys remember when I interviewed her? I asked her if she was a racist. She said no. I asked her if Donald Trump was a racist. She said no. Well, she could have taken an opportunity yesterday to call for unity, but she didn't. You want to know what she said? Marjorie Taylor Greene calls for the United States to be split up. She declares America no longer safe for anyone. How does that help matters? You see what I'm saying? Division is selling. There's no need for that. No matter who you voted for. Maybe you're a Trump supporter and you're not happy about 40% of federal government cancer research funding being cut. Maybe you're a Kamala Harris supporter and you're really disappointed that she was not the first woman of color elected to the presidency. Maybe you're upset because Kamala Harris, as a Democrat, lost the race. Maybe you don't like some of the policy ideas and executive orders coming from the Trump administration. Regardless of who you may have voted for, I think that you see and you tangibly feel the division that exists in this country because you probably can remember a time in which we were more unified, or at least on the surface we were. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene says the country is not safe for anybody and says that we should split up. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, revived her calls for a national divorce on Monday, ominously warning that that America right now, the American right and left, have nothing to talk about. Greene sparked controversy in February of 2023 when she wrote on Twitter, "We need a national divorce. Quote, we need to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Everyone I talk to says this," Greene said. "From the sick and disgusting woke culture issues shoved down our throats to the Democrats' traitorous America Last policies, we are done." How does this help anything? She sparked controversy in February of 2023 when she wrote on Twitter, "We need a national divorce." Don't write stuff on Twitter because you get in trouble for that. People can't have nice things because even when I want to post my opinion, I get in trouble for it. Greene was quickly denounced at the time. Utah Governor Spencer Cox, who is a Republican, slammed Marjorie Taylor Greene's call to split the country. He called it evil. And former Representative Liz Cheney, that Republican from Wyoming, who is the daughter of Dick Cheney, added that secession is unconstitutional and no member of Congress should advocate for secession. Marjorie. Liz Cheney used her first name, said Marjorie. Marjorie Taylor Greene's post yesterday included much of the same sentiment as her previous comment, although this time she clarified she wants the dissolution of the union to be, quote, peaceful. Well, we tried that. We tried to dissolve the union. The bloodiest war in American history was Americans killing other Americans, and it seems that we have learned nothing from it. Now, practically, we probably should talk about this. If red states want to go their own separate way, let them go. You get no more federal resources that's provided to you by blue states because blue states have more income and generate more federal taxes than red states. In fact, red states take more federal government money. Red states basically are welfare states. Get rid of them then. You want to go? Goodbye. Ain't nobody going to miss you. I'll be perfectly fine if I need a passport to go to Texas. I just wouldn't go to Texas. Red states would be bankrupt in a matter of one fiscal year. They cannot survive without the tax resources that they get from blue states. Between New York, Illinois, and California, that probably funds education in all of the Bible Belt states. Their taxes are so low, their unemployment is so high, and their wages are so low, especially in those right-to-work, non-unionized states, that in order for those states to function, they need huge tax investments from the federal government. Otherwise, they would have zero infrastructure. Because remember, a lot of red states, if not all, are represented by Republicans. And Republicans love to cut taxes. Oh, your money is better off in your pocket. No, it's not, because Americans don't know how to spend it. And there are certain investments that we are okay with our government making on our behalf. We're not investing in our own education, especially when we're telling people not to go to college because it costs too much. So when you send your kids to a public school, a parent is not paying tuition for that public school. The state pays for it. And the state gets an injection from the U.S. Department of Education to help offset the cost. So if red states want to go, so this is why it's so damn dangerous to have members of Congress that don't even know and understand the government that they are representing. We would probably be better off. Do you know that red states have higher murder rates than blue states do? Did you know that red states with the death penalty, because we all think, oh, bring back the death penalty and there'll be less homicides. It's not a deterrent. Red states that have the death penalty have higher murder rates per capita than blue states that don't have the death penalty. We used to have the death penalty in Wisconsin. Did you guys know that? Yeah, we did. One person was executed, and it was a white Irish dude. And they're like, we got to get rid of it. Because at the time, Wisconsin was probably whiter than it is now. It's still pretty white. But at the time, they're like, oh, this isn't good. Got the death penalty, and they killed a white Irish fella. They probably should have waited. Like, wait till the blacks get here. Then we're going to wish we had the death penalty. I'm against the death penalty, by the way, FYI. Marjorie Taylor Greene was quickly denounced at the time. Utah Governor Spencer Cox, a Republican, slammed Marjorie Taylor Greene's call to split the country as evil. And former Representative Liz Cheney, the Republican from Wyoming, added that secession is unconstitutional. No member should advocate secession, Marjorie. Marjorie Taylor Greene's post on Monday included much of the same sentiment as her previous comment, although this time she clarified she wants the dissolution of the union to be peaceful. Fine, if you want to do it, I'm not going to advocate for it, but do we honestly, listen to me now, do we really need Arkansas? For what? Oh, let me guess. You went to Arkansas to go to Little Rock to get a sandwich. We don't need Arkansas. I'd sell Arkansas. I'd sell Arkansas in a package deal. I'd sell Racine and Arkansas. Cheap. We don't need them. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns. It's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
Juneteenth signifies the occasion in 1865 when the final enslaved blacks in Texas were notified of their liberation 2.5 years subsequent to the Emancipation Proclamation. The moment when 100% of victims of slavery finally recognized their liberation indicated the principles of the U.S. Constitution came to be universally applicable. This represents a success for Black Americans and a subsequent and significant point in American history, highlighting the nation's alleged dedication to liberty and justice for all. The recent verdict in the murder of Sade Robinson serves as a reminder of the enduring evils and oppression we still face. Despite independence, numerous blacks still encounter exploitation, and they are masquerading as freedom. Commemorating Juneteenth compels us all to acknowledge these realities and compel the nation's past and promote a truthful national narrative. Juneteenth, along with the murder conviction of the disgusting individual who killed Miss Robinson, serves not merely as a celebration, but also as a summons to action. Remember this history in your daily discussions and interactions. If Juneteenth caused the conflation of liberty and justice for Black America, I say one death represented by the murder of Miss Robinson is a denial of liberty and an injustice to all of Black America.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hit the road and come on down to Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown and take advantage of this limited time offer. Oh, look at this. Today, all washes are 50% off. Now, this is the only time it's going to be available, and the only location is going to be Midtown. So go down to Tsunami Express, tell them I sent you. Said you here for a 50% car wash. 50% off. Not like cancer funding, which Trump is cutting by 40%. It's 50% off your car wash. Again, that's 50% off all washes at Tsunami Express Midtown, located at 5209 West Fond du Lac Avenue. Ride the wave to clean with Tsunami Express. Wash, chill, and repeat. So 50% off your car wash and 40% off your cancer funding. The cancer funding, you got that just by voting for Trump. So congratulations on. I'm so upset by that. I don't know if I've fully and thoroughly expressed how angry I am at that, because African Americans were living longer, even though we still have worse cancer disparities than anybody else. Our diagnoses are usually later stage and much more severe, but the amount of money that the federal government invests in cancer research has somewhat narrowed the disparity of African American mortality with cancer. Trump saw that as DEI and woke because there's federal money that is helping Black people. Remember, Black people don't really vote for Trump. And the ones that do, or the ones that did, just voted to have less cancer research dollars, which was being used to help extend our life. Like, that's insane to me. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to actually kill people. And that's not me being extreme. It is the absolute truth. We are not in a place or in a stage. Americans are unhealthy. We are. And we can blame a whole bunch of stuff. But what we're going to stop doing, because I saw some people saying this in the YouTube chat, well, if you just eat better. People don't know how. And quote unquote eating better is expensive. It costs too much to eat. I told you I just went to the grocery store and I had to get a couple little small items. I didn't even get a big boy cart. I got the special bus cart, the little cart, the small one. The short bus cart. I didn't get a big grocery cart because I feel like when I get a big grocery cart, I feel it more. Is that a psychological trick they play on you? Because sometimes there's no little carts available. If I just need a couple of items, then I get a little cart. But if I have to get a whole bunch of items, obviously I get a big cart. But what if I only need a couple of items and I have a big cart? I feel like I need to fill the cart. Because anytime I go to the grocery store, there's always something that I could buy. Maybe I don't need it at the time, but there's always something else I could buy. So I got a short bus cart. And I didn't really get very many things. This is when I saw one of our avid listeners of 1017 The Truth, Sir Chauncey, at the grocery store, and he was very angry when I saw him at the grocery store. He came out of nowhere. I'm walking to get my little short bus cart, and all of a sudden he said, "Sherwin!" I said, "Oh, no. I'm mad as hell, Sherwin." I said, "Oh, why are you mad, Sir Chauncey? What's on your mind, sir?" I treated the interaction like a radio show. He said, "I came here to get a black diamond watermelon, and damn it, they don't have none." And so I'm like, oh, that's too bad. And I'm walking with my short bus cart. As I'm walking to get my groceries, I'm thinking he's just going to go on about his business. Nah, he followed me. He did. He just kept talking, and he's yelling. You have an African-American man yelling at another black man in the Meijer grocery store, and one black man is very angry that they don't have a certain kind of watermelon. It was the blackest conversation I think that they had that day at Meijer. And as I'm getting my handful of items, he's just following me, and we're walking and talking. He's mad and getting angrier that they don't have any black diamond watermelons, and then eventually he goes on about his business. Very black conversation to have in a grocery store. Bottom line is, I didn't get very many items, and guess how much it cost me? It cost me $39.70, and I was wholly offended because I even got a smaller cart because I didn't need very many items. I think I just got like some spring salad mix and some blueberries, and it was $39.70. I mean, I probably got other things too, but it was very expensive. How come nobody is holding Donald Trump to account when he said that he was going to make the grocery prices go down? Instead of making the grocery prices go down, we just don't talk about it anymore. Anything that he ran on that he didn't accomplish just doesn't get discussed. I talked about this in hour one. Where's the border wall at? Remember when he loved the wall so much he had to build the wall? The wall was going to be what? Big and beautiful. Where is it? I expect Donald Trump now in term 2 to be taking a whole bunch of selfies in front of the wall. Has he even been to the wall? Where's the progress on the wall? Remember the border wall? Why are they not? You can do two things at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can deport millions of people and rip families apart and also build the border wall. How come he doesn't talk about that anymore? He has all the funding that he could ever want. He's got the House, he's got the Senate, and a favorable U.S. Supreme Court. He can build so many border walls. Hell, he can build a border wall between us and the Pacific Ocean if he wanted to, but he's not doing it. Therefore, he's not talking about it. Gary. Hi, Gary. You're on 1017 The Truth. What's on your mind, Gary?
Hey, Sherwin, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Hope you're doing better, my friend. Hey, no, I don't
know. This place is about to kill me, Gary. They're going to kill me here. Stressing me out at 1017 The Truth.
I won't add to it, but just curious. So, for the 2028 presidential election, do you think whoever is running on the Republican side will try to distance themselves from Donald Trump because his policies now, all these promises that he made that you were just talking about, didn't come to fruition? And it's been really, his presidency has been a failure the way that he's treated these immigrants, all the DEI stuff. So I believe a lot of people are disappointed, and if they had an opportunity to vote again, they wouldn't have voted for him. But do you think that other Republicans will now try to distance themselves from Donald Trump?
No. I mean, I could give you a longer, more convoluted answer, but no. Supporting Donald Trump's policies wins for Republicans. That's number one. Number two, damn near every member in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, they are avid Donald Trump supporters, and they would not throw their support behind a Republican who is distancing themselves from Trump because they all got elected because of their support for Donald Trump. So, no, the Republican Party is going to be stuck for a while. And if there's a Republican that is trying to distance themselves from Donald Trump and his policies, guess what they're going to sound like, Gary? They're going to sound like a Democrat. Meaning you're going to have a Democrat that is going to run in 2028 that's really going to distance themselves and their party from Donald Trump. If you have a Republican saying the same thing, then people will equate that Republican with a Democrat, and they're going to lose even worse. So, no, they cannot. They are stuck for a while. Now, the Democrats have an opportunity to build something because they are much more credible in being against Donald Trump's policies than any Republican would be. Because the first question we would ask, Gary, is, okay, if you're running for president as a Republican in 2028 and you want to distance yourself from Trump, where were you in 2025? Where were you in 2026? Right. Where were you? When were you distancing yourself from Trump, let's say in 2017, 18, or 19? You had all of this time to do so. And because no Republican has done that, I think 2028 would be a little too late for them to try and start distancing themselves from Trump then. So, but who knows?
All right. Thanks a lot for your explanation.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate your call. I personally don't see it. The Republicans that are running for governor in the state of Wisconsin are both seeking Donald Trump's endorsement. And if they are elected, they would be elected in 2026, and they would serve until 2030, assuming that we get a Republican governor in Wisconsin, and they serve out their full term. In the middle of that Republican governor's term will be the 2028 presidential election, rather. They'll be elected in the midterm of 2026. In 2 years, if we get a Republican governor, we'll have a presidential contest. Assuming we get a Republican governor, which I am not assuming, they would have won the state of Wisconsin with Donald Trump's not just endorsement, but investment. So if a Republican presidential candidate arises from the ashes and runs for president in 2028, distancing themselves from Trump, hear me out here, they will also be distancing themselves from all of the other governors, U.S. senators, members of the state legislature, and members of the House of Representatives that got elected with Donald Trump's support and endorsement. So they don't want to be a Republican out on an island, because right now we live in an America where every Republican that is in office has sought Donald Trump's praise, investment, and endorsement. Zach, should we give people an opportunity to be $5,000 richer? I think that we should.
One call, that's all.
Now is your chance to be our one call, that's all Gruber $5,000 giveaway entry for the day. That's right. You'll be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices. We'll take call number 5 at 833-212-1017. I should know the number. Call number 5 at 833-212-1017. You'll be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of the award-winning 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. Remember, if you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Offices today. You can visit them at gruber-law.com. And, of course, for official contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. Caller number 5 gets entered to win $5,000 courtesy of 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. 833-212-1017. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What up, Truth Nation? It's Kyle Walsh, and I'm broadcasting live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown on Tuesday, September 16th from noon until 1. Come ride the wave and kick off your week with a clean ride and good vibes. I'll be at 5209 West Fond du Lac Avenue, holding it down live at Tsunami Express Car Wash. Again, that's Tuesday, September 16th, Truth to Power from 12 until 1, live from Tsunami Express Car Wash at Midtown Milwaukee. Wash, chill, repeat.
Tracy, going back to the process, and as it relates specifically to the partnership that Old National Bank has with Housing Resource, what does the process consist of when coming through this program?
You know, it's a referral process. We work with clients that first-time homeowners that may not have the counseling that they need. They may not have the equity, the down payment that they need. So we refer them to our partners like HRI or Housing Resources, Inc., because we recognize that those organizations, they have the resources, they have the tutorial documentation and all of those things that are necessary for first-time homeowners that don't know the process, may not know the system, may not know what's required for home ownership. So working with Housing Resources Inc. and other partnerships that we have like through WIDA has been very, very advantageous, not only for us, but also the organizations, but also for the community.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Calling all Black-owned business owners and entrepreneurs. Are you looking to share your story and grow your reach? Well, we've teamed up with Associated Bank for our Black-owned business give back. Each quarter, 4 lucky business owners will win an opportunity to spotlight their brand and their journey on 1017 The Truth. To sign up for your business spotlight interview, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. That's blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's business prowess through exposure on 1017 The Truth. For official contest rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank member, FDIC. A little Pat Benatar for that ass. All right, what have we learned today? Country's divided. If there's a program or an expenditure or an investment in keeping Americans alive and healthy, the first thing you do is you get an anti-vaxxer medical conspiracy theorist to lead Health and Human Services that fires the whole committee on vaccine research, and then you cut cancer funding by 40%. Do you know that Robert Kennedy said that Tylenol causes autism? Did you know that? It doesn't. So now I guess if you got a headache, ladies, and you're pregnant, you're going to have to suffer through it because you don't want your child to get a touch of the autisms because you had a headache and took some acetaminophen. It's insane to me. Here's the worst part. And I'm seeing it everywhere. Rational people, sane people, reasonable human beings of either party affiliation or no party affiliation are questioning their own common sense. Everybody is. Like, I think I'm going to get fired because my show is successful. Like, I seriously, every single day I complete a show, I think it's my last one because I don't know, I didn't do something right by performing better than everybody else. It's stressful. Like, common sense no longer exists because we have to live in an alternate universe to survive in America right now, where we are going to take away 40%. This is a year one reduction. They might reduce all of it to nothing. Cancer research funding. Like, why would you do something like that? Why would you do something so intentional and so reckless and so dangerous and damaging to American health in an area in which we have made more progress than damn near any country on the planet? Well, let's stop our progress because the investments in cancer research is actually going to save the lives of black people? It's taking a toll on my health. I'm going to have to die again on air, I think. Good grief. It's very frustrating. It is. Because you only have a certain amount of energy and a certain amount of bandwidth to battle people's lack of common sense. And it's everywhere. Everywhere. It's like if the Democrats are successful, they become victims of it. Because it didn't do enough or it didn't go far enough. And so let's embrace an alternative that is going to be, number one, less successful, but outright more dangerous. All because what? Because egg prices were too high? Because Joe Biden was old and sleepy? I'll be honest with you. I take an old, sleepy Joe Biden right now. I take Joe Biden sitting in a committee meeting snoring over what we are seeing right now. What good actually comes of this? I'm not even going to get into the immigration stuff. I'm not even going to. He lied about ending the wars. He lied about all of that stuff. He even lied about building the wall. They're taking American citizens and snatching them up. You guys hear about the people that were in the Hyundai factory in Georgia? Might have been in Marjorie Taylor Greene's Georgia congressional district. I think she represents the 14th congressional district. I'm not sure. You'll have to check it. We brought South Koreans to the United States to help them set up a Hyundai factory in Georgia. They had all of the proper legitimate visas. Look, remember, they weren't going to stay here. They were just here to set up a Hyundai factory. Because, Hyundai is from South Korea. And apparently, the South Koreans know how to make Hyundais and Americans don't. Go figure. So 500 of them came here with the proper requirements and paperwork. And, that kind of stuff happens all the time. There are often times where we invite someone from a foreign country into America because they can assist us with something that only they have the expertise to do. It makes a lot of sense. You know that Donald Trump had all of them deported? And then they realized they made a mistake by deporting the South Koreans that were invited and asked to come here. Trump deported them. And then they realized the administration made a mistake and they asked them all to come back and they all said no. Good luck building Hyundais without the people that make Hyundais helping you build Hyundais. What good comes of this? I titled the show today, Parting is Such Sweet Sorrow, because we have to part with common sense, which is unfortunate, but we have to. And it's not just in our politics. It's having an influence on everything. And I'm sure you guys have noticed anecdotally throughout your lives that things that used to make sense, things that were easy, that were simple, that didn't require any thought or any effort, you got to second guess everything now. It is impacted. Now success is failure and failure is success. That's where we're at in today's society. It is the beginning of the end. It is the slow descent into darkness, and I don't know who's going to get us out of it. I don't know what super Democrat is going to be able to shoulder all of this burden of getting things back to even where they used to be, not to mention remedying and providing relief for all the damage that has been done. Trump went on a tear. He signed something like 200 executive orders. He signed more executive orders in the first few months of his first term than most presidents sign in 2 terms. All of that stuff is going to have to get undone. Plus the damage that some of those executive orders have put in place. People are going to lose their health insurance starting next year. Or if they're able to keep it, they're not going to be able to afford it. How do you want to do that? The cost is going to be in lives lost. Our economy is starting to suffer. It's going to continue to suffer. They want all these people deported. Okay, but at the same time, we realize that our immigration system is broken. This man has got a majority of his party in the House, in the Senate. They could put together a common sense immigration bill because we admit we do want people from other countries to be able to come to the United States of America and enjoy a good life. But they're not even creating a common sense immigration system where people are able to do that. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is up next.
This is 1017 The Truth, Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 411.